Options at no additional cost.
Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
It's 5:11. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Only one trouble spot we've seen so far. I-65, Northwest Indiana. Big construction delays southbound between State Road 2 and 205th on I-65. Traffic is a service of Audible. Get immersed in new worlds and ideas with Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen. Sign up for a free trial. Audible.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Ruth O'Brien.
For today, mostly sunny with a gusty breeze, high 78, mainly clear tonight, low 60. Breezy to kick off the weekend tomorrow, sunshine and patchy clouds with an afternoon thunderstorm, high 75. Passing evening shower tomorrow night as well. I'm Ruth O'Brien on AM 560, The Answer.
61 right now. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm Shalom Klein. Join me each week for the Get Down to Business radio show. The show is packed with ideas that will inspire as you search for best practices to grow your business. Whether you are an experienced entrepreneur or just learning the ropes, Get Down to Business will tackle the issues affecting your everyday work life.
Get Down to Business is covered by Tom Mirabali, independent producer for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois.
Listen each week to Get Down to Business with me, Shalom Klein. Heard Sunday afternoons at 6 right here on AM 560.
Chicagoland certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns discusses taxes in retirement.
Most people are paying more in taxes and keeping less of their money to live and do what they enjoy. That's why we've put out the retirement tax bill calculator online. You can see with your own eyes just how much you might be overpaying. It's a valuable tool, $500 value, but we made it free for you to view and run your own numbers at mvpcfp.com. That's mvpcfp.com.
To run your retirement tax bill calculator, go to mvpcfp.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC.
Our communities deserve to have their tax dollars spent efficiently. All over Chicagoland, there is an increased need for vital projects, like wetland improving these projects. And let's face it, they rarely meet deadlines or budgets, leaving our communities vulnerable. There's a better way forward. Control Point Engineering. At Control Point Engineering, we're more than just civil engineers. We're champions of quality and efficiency with over 40 years of hands-on experience. Teaming up with Earthworks Land Development, we're breaking down barriers and streamlining processes. Say goodbye to disjointed partnerships and hello to seamless collaboration. From conceptualization to construction, Control Point Engineering delivers everything you need in one unified package, saving you time and money. Visit ControlPointLLC.com today to learn about our successful projects all across Chicagoland. Again, that's ControlPointLLC.com.
Parents, grandparents, you might want to be sitting down, because this is amazing news. Imagine the student in your family not asking you for money to pay for college, or better yet, not getting into years and years of debt. How's this possible? Scholarships.com, a trusted and widely used scholarship platform that helps your student find scholarships and navigate the financial aid process. Get help to pay for college through a personalized list of scholarships that your student actually qualifies for. Better yet, every scholarship is vetted to ensure accuracy. And now the best part, drum roll please, it's absolutely free. Go to scholarships.com today. Both students and parents can join for free. And within minutes, receive your list of personalized scholarship matches. Check out the wealth of information and resources available at no cost. And read the fantastic reviews from other scholarship winners. Scholarships.com has helped over 23 million students and families find scholarships to help pay for college. And will help you too. Join scholarships.com today for free. That's scholarships.com.
Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, a family-owned restaurant, a Chicago family favorite for over 40 years. Why? Because they're known for sub sandwiches the size of your forearm. No joke. Their 6-inch sub has more meat and cheese in it than any foot-long in an Irish neighborhood. These sandwiches are iconic, famous for their homemade Italian beef, meatballs, burgers, and, of course, delicious Italian subs loaded with mortadella, cabagol, salami, provolone, and their own secret sauce called Love Potion No. 9. This vinegar and oil dressing is famous on its own. Both Augustino's locations boast walls covered in authentic rock and roll memorabilia and artifacts, all celebrating their love for good old-fashioned rock and roll. Augie's is a feast for your eyes and your stomach. Dine in or carry out. Bring the family or the team. Plus, Augie's caters corporate meetings, parties, and celebrations. Don't make it yourself. Make it happen with Augustino's. Go to augustinos.com for locations and menus. That's augustinos.com.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Guevalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
This is Jerry Boyer for Townhall.com. Exxon has long been subjected to harassing proposals from anti-oil and anti-gas activists, forcing their proposals on the company's annual meetings with the help of federal regulators. The activists' agenda, to be clear, would destroy those companies and the American economy along with it. Exxon took legal action, and the proposal was dropped. Blue states then attempted to use their retirees' pension assets to stage a coup for control of Exxon, the world's largest privately owned energy company. Red states, represented by the State Financial Officers Foundation, fought back, urging investment firms to back the board. What happened? Exxon, red states, real investors, and freedom won big. The entire board was re-elected with an average of 95% support. If the blue states had succeeded, this would have been the first time in American history that a state government essentially took control of a publicly traded company. We dodged a bullet.
Welcome to Face the Music, sponsored by Fox Valley Coins in Naperville. Today's guest, President Ronald Reagan. Sir, would you mind sharing some golden lines from your past debates and presidency?
Before I refuse to take your questions, I have an opening statement. I have left orders to be awakened at any time in case of a national emergency, even if I'm in a cabinet meeting.
Mr. President, should age enter into the debate?
Thomas Jefferson once said, "We should never judge a president by his age, only by his works." Ever since he told me that, I stopped worrying about age.
Thank you, Mr. President. Remember, Face the Music is brought to you by the great Americans at Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville, Illinois. They are the leader of buying and selling old coins and paper money, as well as all forms of gold and silver.
Whew, this interview wore me out. It's bedtime for Bonzo.
Face the Music was sponsored by the great Americans of Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville. No real or artificial intelligence was used in the making of this ad.
Celebrity voices are impersonated.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Donna. I love gardening. I love to go on walks with my husband and my dog, and I love taking Balance of Nature. It makes me feel sparkly every single day. It's just an amazing product. I'm 56, but I feel 21. I feel so much alive. Balance of Nature is magic in a bottle, and I really love it.
Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited-time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered today?
Hi, I'm trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for my boss. Can you deliver a hard drive to the Loop in Chicago?
We can deliver that today.
Okay, can you deliver 20 boxes to a client in Rockford?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver 12 pallets of tile to our customer in Naperville?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver a large envelope to Northbrook?
We can deliver that today.
Oh my gosh, I think my water just broke. Can you...
We cannot deliver that.
Quick Delivery Service delivers your package no matter the size. More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and trucking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or your air shipment. Trucks are equipped to handle the load and provide ground-level service for same-day delivery. The Quick Delivery Service team of safe, licensed professionals can provide quick door-to-door service for your special delivery. QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. We deliver that today. But we don't deliver this.
This is Dennis Prager. Now you can listen to my show when it's convenient for you and without censorship from big tech. Become a member of the ultimate online community for all things Prager. It's Pragertopia Unlimited. Listen to the show on demand when it's easiest for you. This includes every radio show, every segment, and every guest over the last 10 years, and it's commercial free. You can even share your favorite segments with your friends. Plus, you'll get the same email from Alan Estrin that I receive every night about the most important issues to read about. Pragertopia Unlimited members can also listen to every program, lecture, and course that is in the Prager store. Thousands of hours. You can even listen to all my Torah teachings for free. Share my passion for free speech. Join today and save 25% off the first year and get a free Pragertopia coffee mug. It's all things Prager. Pragertopia Unlimited. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner at DennisPrager.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So that neighbor of, or former neighbor of Justice Samuel Alito and his wife that got into a row with the Alitos over signage, and then words were had. And this is the latest gambit by the left to try and sideline Alito as it pertains to Trump-related cases, the flag at his house, the flag at his vacation home, and trying to change the course of Supreme Court jurisprudence through political pressure. So meet Alito neighbor Emily Baden. She went on with, one of the fungible CNN anchoresses and explained herself, explained the sign wars, and explained using the C word in the direction of Justice Alito's wife. See if this person, Emily Baden, is a nice composite of some of the neighbors in your leafy suburbs, those of you suburbanites listening right now. Emily Baden on the signs.
So January 6th was a dark day for our democracy. And I think people of all ideologies feel that way. We all saw this direct threat to our democracy, and it was chilling. And so my putting up a sign that says Trump is a fascist, because I believe that he's a self-proclaimed fascist, and you are complicit, includes everyone. It includes everybody in the GOP who, endorsed this or didn't say anything against it, or Trump himself, who said, stand by, and it's to everyone. And I also think it's to, people on my side of the spectrum. It's like, what are we really doing to hold these people accountable for this attempted coup and insurrection? Like, we need to do more, I feel like.
312-642-5600. You're a fascist. I'm a fascist. We're all fascists. And the anti-fascists, which of course are the actual fascists, like Emily Baden, aren't doing enough to sideline you, the fascist, me, the fascist, Amy, the fascist, Trump, the fascist, and all the fascists. Is that a woman who you've run into before in a Starbucks, at a yoga class, at a school board meeting?
She sounds like one of my neighbors, easily. And she's really happy to tell her story, Dan. I mean, this is like she's been waiting a long time because we have to do something. So I think she really enjoyed her 15 seconds in the sun.
There was a little sing-songiness in her inflection,
Little
wasn't
Emily
there?
Landon-ish.
Yeah, it was a little Emily Landon-ish. Yeah, Emily Landon, that's a good profile. Emily Landon, Emily Baden. I mean, one has a medical degree. That's about the only thing that separates the two. Now, on using the C word.
Yeah, that's not becoming of somebody named Emily.
I guess maybe Alito was misremembered. I think he said that the husband used the C word in the direction of his wife, but Emily Baden wants credit.
Oh,
you're not going to take the credit away from her. No. Oh. I'm the one who used the C word.
Oh, okay.
Because when I guess when Mrs. Alito said something about the sign, they had words, and Mrs. Alito made Emily, 70-year-old Mrs. made Emily Baden feel unsafe.
Oh.
Safety first.
In that interaction, she approached us, started screaming at us, used all of our full names, which to me felt like a threat because you're a stranger. We don't know you. You don't know us. How do you know our full names?
You don't know me.
And I just...
You don't know who I am.
I started yelling, how dare you? Because they both were there at the same time. So I said, how dare you? You're on the highest court in the land. You represent the Supreme Court of the United States. You're behaving this way. You're yelling at a neighbor. You're harassing us. How dare you? Shame on you.
Oh, shame.
And I did use the word. So if that in any way, distracts from that real message, I do regret using the word.
No, if that in any way distracts from the message of me having the moral high ground, but I regret saying the C word. You're behaving inappropriately. Use C word. The irony, of course, lost on lovely Emily Baden, the suburban everywoman, at least the awful suburban everywoman, the angry white leftist female. Marty in Naperville.
Hey, I got a question. I didn't know they lived in Naperville, because that sounds like every 50-year-old woman in Naperville until her 20-year-old boyfriend comes over. That sounds exactly like a woman from Naperville. So
Marty,
yes.
20-year-old boyfriend, really? Really, 20-year-old boyfriend?
You don't know Naperville. Yeah, you don't know Naperville there. Well, yeah, okay.
Oh, I do know Naperville. 20-year-old girlfriend comes over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. Either way, so, all right.
Thanks for the call, Marty. No,
and this woman looks like she sounds.
Yeah, she's
larger.
Yeah. She looked like, maybe back in the day she was something in high school, and then she let herself go.
Well,
as happens, once women turn
and men let themselves go too. Okay.
Yeah, but we do it with
she looks nasty.
Aplomb and dignity.
She looks like she wears a pea hat.
She looks like she's a mean girl who now is making good by being a rank and file, member of the Chardonnay Antifa out there in D.C. Larry in Elmhurst.
Hey, good morning. Hey, was that the Mooch's wife on that video I was listening to? Hey, you know what? You ever hear that can't understand normal thinking?
Yes.
Just take the first letters out of each line and put them up.
Yeah, I thank you for the help with the acronym. I got it. Thanks for the call, Larry. George in Naperville.
Yeah, she sounds like the kind of person during COVID that would tell you to put your mask up if it was a little bit too low on your face.
Yeah, she sounds like the kind of person that would come and put your mask up for you.
Exactly. I love the part where she said, and she used my full name.
You don't know me.
Emily Baden.
Baden.
They say I'm a name assassin.
Yeah,
Emily Baden, stop what you're doing.
Well, I don't know. They seem familiar enough to have for her to put a sign up in the direction of the Alitos, and for I mean, you know who your neighbors are. I mean, you may not know them, but you know names. Yeah. I mean, it's not. It sounded more like Mrs. Alito was, chastising her as a little child. Well, because she is.
Oh my God.
Coming up at 5:38, Byron Donalds, my congressman down in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
Byron Donalds, shortlister for VP. Probably more likely he'll be running for governor of Florida in 2026. No. Yes, 2026. He has gotten a little bit of hot water with the identitarian left over his invocation of the Jim Crow era. You'll hear what he said, and you'll get his response to the controversy at 5:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
60 degrees, 5:30 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. U.S. President Joe Biden due to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Paris today as Kyiv's army endures its hardest days of fighting since the early weeks of the war in Russia, or with Russia in Ukraine. Federal judge has ordered former Trump advisor Steve Bannon to surrender to prison by July 1, revoking his bail. The Department of Justice had requested Bannon begin his 4-month prison term in connection with his contempt of Congress conviction. An early season heat dome bringing some life-threatening temperatures to about 30 million people from Texas to California. Death Valley temperature 118. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration rescinded its marketing ban on Juul Labs Thursday, opening the door to possible authorization of some of its products. The reversal comes nearly 2.5 years after the Federal Health Agency ordered the company's e-cigarettes and vaping products be taken off the market. Boeing's new capsule arrived at the International Space Station Thursday, delayed by last-minute thruster trouble that almost derailed docking for the first test flight with astronauts. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, now 162 people have reported illness, 54 of them hospitalized with salmonella, following a cucumber recall by a Florida producer. Fresh Start Produce Sales announcing the U.S. Food and Drug Administration is mandating the recall of its whole cucumbers. If you're looking for an excuse to treat yourself, you'll be happy to know today is National Donut Day. The annual June 7 celebration always happens first Friday. It's not always June 7. It is always the first Friday in June. First ever National Donut Day took place here in Chicago in 1938 to honor the Salvation Army's donut lassies from World War I. An iron worker died after a scaffolding collapse at a Hyde Park hospital. Chicago Fire saying it happened at a construction site for the University of Chicago Cancer Pavilion on Maryland Street near 57th around noon. 5 Chicago police officers and a civilian were injured in a crash on the south side Thursday evening. It happened near 63rd and Racine around 7:15. One of the officers taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center in serious condition. A 25-year-old man from Oakland, California, charged in a stabbing outside Union Station Wednesday afternoon. Wilson Barrino is charged with 1 count of first-degree attempted murder. And 2 have been arrested after a man was injured in a road rage shooting along I-57 earlier this week. Tavon Green Powell is charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. Another man also charged with being the getaway driver. With a loss to the Red Sox, the White Sox set the franchise record for most consecutive single-season losses, dropping their 14th straight. Boston beat the Sox 14-2, hammering out 24 hits. Cubs' win streak stopped in an 8-4 loss to Cincinnati. June minicamp over for the Bears, optional OTAs next week. The team announcing their public practice schedule for training camp yesterday. That starts in late July. Open practice days begin Friday, July 26. The last 2 days, open days, August 14 and 15, will see the Cincinnati Bengals in town for practices ahead of a preseason game August 17 at Soldier Field. The news service of CharlesEquipment.com. Be prepared for any outdoor event in any season in Chicago. Prepare ahead for unpredictable weather with industrial generators from Charles Equipment. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum says we need to fix our priorities.
We are dropping trillions of dollars on the streets of America right now to build back up our roads and our bridges, our sidewalks.
We're dropping trillions of dollars to build back our streets. Man, ain't nobody give up about these streets. Fix the economy, woman. I could run over 16 potholes on the way to get groceries that are reasonably priced.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Jerry Boyer for townhall.com. Exxon has long been subjected to harassing proposals from anti-oil and anti-gas activists, forcing their proposals on the company's annual meetings with the help of federal regulators. The activists' agenda, to be clear, would destroy those companies and the American economy along with it. Exxon took legal action, and the proposal was dropped. Blue states then attempted to use their retirees' pension assets to stage a coup for control of Exxon, the world's largest privately owned energy company. Red states, represented by the State Financial Officers Foundation, fought back, urging investment firms to back the board. What happened? Exxon, red states, real investors, and freedom won big. The entire board was re-elected with an average of 95% support. If the blue states had succeeded, this would have been the first time in American history that a state government essentially took control of a publicly traded company. We dodged a bullet.
When the storms hit Chicagoland this spring and your home or business has water damage, ProTech Restoration is ready 24/7. The certified team at ProTech Restoration will be there quickly and work directly with your insurance. But even in between the storms, if you come across water in your basement, bathroom, or kitchen due to leaking pipes, an appliance breakdown, or sump pump failure, know that ProTech Restoration has seen it all and knows what to do. They are a leading Chicagoland emergency water damage cleanup, repair, and restoration company, offering 24-hour rapid response. They'll clean up, extract, repair, even do a total build back. Search online for ProTech Restoration in Elk Grove Village and check out their Google reviews. To get your free on-site evaluation and estimate, visit protechwaterdamage.com. That's ProTech waterdamage.com. Servicing the entire Chicagoland. ProTech Restoration. Experience, transparency, trust. ProTechWaterDamage.com.
Hi, this is Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois, with my current want list for upcoming auctions. Guns and military items are always at the top of my list, but I have buyers for vintage automobiles and motorcycles, old gas pumps and automotive signs. Do you have pinball machines and coin-operated games like slot machines, jukeboxes? How about Coke machines and soda machines? Also, neon signs, antique phonographs and music boxes, old toys, especially science fiction and Star Wars. Cowboy and Native American collections like barbershop, ice cream parlor, and saloon items. We'll take one item or an entire collection. We sell it all. Call me before you sell your items outright because you could be leaving a fortune on the table. And you won't know until you call me at 815-923-7000 or send me an email at DonnellyAuctions.com. My job is to get you top dollar for your collections, so call me at 815-923-7000. I'm Randy Donnelly, and I'll see you at the auction.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
5:39. Let's get a check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is the service of Team Hochberg. Let Team Hochberg help you by visiting 56david.com, 855-563-2843, lower.com, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061. Bishop Ford outbound between Cottage Grove and 103rd. Big delays. Trying to track why. Stevenson inbound also slow this morning between Cass and County Line and Harlem and Kedzie. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Mostly sunny, but watch out for those gusty breezes this afternoon that could top out near 34 miles an hour. High 78, clear and 60 overnight. Currently 60 degrees. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Congressman Byron Donalds from Naples, Florida, is a rising star in the Republican ranks. He is a shortlister for VP, though I doubt he'll be Trump's running mate. He is definitely a leading contender to replace Ron DeSantis as governor of Florida, which is now a position of national prominence for the Republican Party. And he's been out on the trail. I'm sure you've seen. He's been outspoken on the Hill. I'm sure you've seen. He's a sharp guy. I had the opportunity to have dinner with him down in Florida a month or so ago.
Oh, great.
And yeah, he's a really interesting guy, sharp guy. And wife is very talented as well. So he's got it put together. And that means he's a target for the left. And so that's what they did this week, is target Byron Donalds for some comments he made at an event to, make outreach to black residents of Philadelphia. First, here's what Byron Donalds said, and then the ensuing reaction from the usual suspects when it comes to the race hustle, the Joy Reids and the Hakeem Jeffries and so forth. But first, Byron Donalds.
I grew up with my mom. My dad and my mom, things didn't work out. As an adult, I look at my father and I say, bro, I don't know what happened, but you my father and I love you. Wow. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. Wow. But I'm going to tell you this. Growing up, the one thing I knew I wanted to do, and this is not about my father, this is about what I wanted to do, is I wanted to be a father to myself. Wow. And so one of the things that's actually happening in our culture, which you're now starting to see in our politics, is the reinvigoration of black families with younger black men and black women. And that is also helping to breed the revival of a black middle class in America. You see, during Jim Crow, the black family was together. That's right. During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people are always a bit conservative-minded, but more black people voted conservatively. And then H.E.W., Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are. What's happened in America the last 10 years, and I say it because it's my contemporaries, it's Wesley's contemporaries, you're starting to see more black people be married in homes, raising kids. It's when you home with your wife raising your kids, and then you look at the world, you're saying, now wait a minute, time out. This does not look right. How can I get something to my kids? It goes back to the conversation of generational wealth. Not just having a job, generational wealth.
So pick out what he said that has the left's hearts all aflutter.
That during Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative.
Right. Mm-hmm. It sounded like, according to the race hustlers, that he was promoting a nostalgic view of Jim Crow, like it was a better time for black Americans. And so would-be House Speaker Hakeem Jeffries from New York, the leader of the Dems in the House, the Dem Socialists, the New Marxists, he took to the House floor to excoriate Byron Donalds for those incendiary words.
Mr. Speaker, it has come to my attention that a so-called leader has made the factually inaccurate statement that black folks were better off during Jim Crow. That's an outlandish, outrageous, and out-of-pocket observation. We were not better off when a young boy named Emmett Till could be brutally murdered without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when black women could be sexually assaulted without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when people could be systematically lynched without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when children could be denied a high-quality education without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when people could be denied the right to vote without consequence because of Jim Crow. How dare you make such an ignorant observation? You better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh, he did not. He did not. They're so cringy.
He's such a deep thinker.
Oh,
that
my
Hakeem
gosh.
Jeffries. Yeah, he's a killer on the schoolyard. So this is what you're dealing with. They're so intellectually dishonest. Byron Donalds didn't say the blacks are better off. We're better off under Jim Crow.
He's saying that during Jim Crow, but the black family was together.
He obviously is not making any statements that in any way condone lynchings and racist laws and racist judicial decisions and jury verdicts and all of the like. It's ridiculous, but that's who the left is. I know we're focused on the gender identity hustle in this Pride Month, but the race hustle is right there too.
So it's never going to go away, I feel.
Well, they have to. This is the left's only play to hold on because they can't talk about all their accomplishments. They can talk about accomplishments in terms of the number of black Americans in public office. Walter Williams, the late great Walter Williams, used to make this point all the time. Never have there been more black politicians in public office, and never has the situation with the black family and black Americans been worse economically, socioeconomically, really. So what does that tell you? It tells you that their leadership is tethered to a failed ideology. So since they're tethered to a failed ideology that has wrought massive destruction within the black community, what else do they have to say than even a Byron Donalds, even any black conservative, is a race traitor, is an Uncle Tom. They've been saying about some of America's greatest thinkers for the last 50 years, like Thomas Sowell, who a decade ago said the same thing that Byron Donalds said, because it's true. In point of fact, a lot of what you hear from younger black conservative leaders like Byron Donalds, you can directly track back. What I say, too, my understandings, too, you can directly track back to the great thinkers like a Walter Williams and like a Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell, the black family survived centuries of slavery and generations of Jim Crow, but it has disintegrated in the wake of the liberals' expansion of the welfare state. Most black children grew up in homes with two parents during all that time, but most grow up with only one parent today. And that was the simple point that Byron Donalds was making, and the socioeconomic impact of that, as you heard him close, rounded out to say, that's why it was important for me to be a father. That's why my wife and I understand, because we're living it, that this is the way for black families, and frankly every family, to the middle income, stable status and beyond, because it is.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also reach us on, our text line is, it's a work in progress. We're changing text lines, by the way.
Byron Donalds took on Joy Reid on the topic. I like that, too, that he goes on Joy Reid's show and goes
I love
back
that he
and
did
forth
that.
with her. And he offered an explanation, more context, because, of course, Joy Reid was flacking for Hakeem Jeffries and flacking for the race hustlers of the left.
Yeah.
Frankly, what's really happened is that you have, Democrats and you have the Biden campaign, and some in the media want to twist my words for political purposes. The overarching issue is talking just about Black families and why you're seeing a trend of Black people leaning towards Republicans in this election cycle and probably in election cycles to come. And part of that, is that when you're raising families, raising kids, et cetera, you're now thinking about all of the public policy issues, all of the economic issues, all of the education issues. And that's leading people to have divergence in political thoughts. That was the only point. The stuff that comes up about Jim Crow and twisting my words, saying I was being nostalgic or saying that Jim Crow was good for Black people, that's all political spin. It's a lie. It's gaslighting. And that's truly unfortunate.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. And Corey Brooks, our friend Pastor Corey Brooks from the South Side, he penned an op-ed for Fox News recently talking about Dei or DEI, didn't earn it. He made an important point here. The predicate for his commentary was UCLA essentially being exposed as having reduced its standards, UCLA Medical School, I should add, UCLA Medical School, reducing its standards for black medical students. And this is problematic for Pastor Corey Brooks. But this point that he makes, under slavery and segregation, we were told by whites and by our nation's laws that our inferiority, our subhumanness was the reason for our bondage. Since the 1960s, many of us have made the point of embracing our newfound freedoms to prove that the color of our skin does not limit our abilities. Yet, due to largely leftist policies and its prevailing attitudes, that nasty inferiority continues to shadow us. Such a key point. Right. Jim Crow, racist laws, the institution of slavery was because was whites, as he said, whites and others saying blacks are inferior, they're subhuman. Well, what is DEI? What is the race hustle? Saying the same thing. Blacks are inferior. So you're going to you say we're going to dispense with the vestiges of America's racist institutions by erecting new racist institutions that start from the same premise. That's a great angle into this discussion when you have it with friends. It was inferiority then, claimed inferiority, obviously not actual inferiority, claimed inferiority, illegitimate claimed inferiority then, and it's illegitimate claimed inferiority now to make you feel good or feel like you've done something to remedy the past false claims of inferiority. And instead, you're just perpetrating that same attitude of inferiority dressed up as do-gooderism. Key point from Pastor Corey Brooks. Ron, Southside, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, you can add me to that list. I've been saying for years, telling black folks that it works in the inverse. The more black elected officials you have, look at your community. Your kids can't read, can't do math, but I have to tell you all this because I was talking about that subject on a predominantly black station. And people called in and said, why do you all let Ron call? He's an Uncle Tom. He calls Prof.
You're the Scarlet P, Ron. You're wearing the Scarlet P.
Right. And I told the host, I said, the only good thing, they are listening. Maybe they'll learn some. You all have a good week, and you got me in trouble, Dan.
Sorry, Ron. You're hanging out with a bad element, Ron.
Yeah, right, hanging with Prof. Have a good one, guys.
That's great. Thanks for the call, Ron. I love it. That's a great way. Don't listen to Ron because he calls into another show. That again, the quality of the intellect on the other side, the quality of the arguments they're making. Is what I mean.
Lack of quality.
Mike, Littleton, Colorado.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my call. And, since these people on the left are want to be more comfortable with their emotions than uncomfortable with facts and logic, I wish that our side, and certainly Byron Donalds, because he has the cred of color on his side, should have turned to Joy Reid and said, tell me something. Bull Connor, what political party was he associated with? How about George Wallace? How about the Ku Klux Klan? Tell us. You tell us. Because if you don't tell people, I'll tell you. And we really miss opportunities. We should push that in their face all the time. And we really miss that. So thank you much. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
All right. Join me and John Anthony from Black and White Radio tomorrow, Saturday, at Rand Park in Des Plaines for Bank the Blues' first annual 16-inch softball fundraiser. Games begin at 9 a.m. with Wayne Messmer singing the national anthem. Meet John Anthony from noon to 2 at the AM 560 booth, and then stop by and say hi, and we can chat from 2 to 4. This event features teams from law enforcement agencies across the Chicagoland area, local, state, and federal. The goal of this event is to build awareness surrounding the importance of officers' wellness and to combat the stigma associated with officers' mental health issues.
What do you play? Is it softball?
Yes.
Why don't you play a real sport like pickleball?
Well, Mr.
Yeah,
you're into pickleball now?
Yeah.
Oh, somebody moves to Florida and does Pilates and plays pickleball now. No, this is the real sport, 16-inch softball. So come on, see us tomorrow all day long. It starts at 9 a.m. Enjoy food, entertainment, kids' activities, and a super raffle with a grand prize of $25,000. Excuse me. Learn more at banktheblue.com, banktheblue.com, and we'll see you tomorrow at Rand Park in Des Plaines.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Tom. Welcome to my garage. I don't need new cars. I like old cars. Old cars remind me of me. I take Balance of Nature. I feel great. Take my word for it. If you want to feel great, take Balance of Nature. You'll never regret it.
Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing presented by Signature Bank. And this year, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responders and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Wednesday, June 19th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing package, which includes 25 one-minute commercials between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and a free digital marketing analysis. And we also have twosomes available in addition to foursomes. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Control Point Engineering, Waukegan Roofing, and by Crosscom Public Adjusters.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:06, a new study on COVID-related deaths, not what you think, and former CDC Director Robert Redfield speaks out, including about one sad little man who testified before the House this week. That's at 6:06.
Later, wait till you hear what Jill Biden's doing today. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
An iron worker died after a scaffolding collapse at a Hyde Park construction site. 5 Chicago police officers and a civilian injured in a crash on the south side. A 25-year-old man from Oakland, California, charged in a stabbing outside of Union Station. With a loss to the Red Sox, the White Sox set a franchise record for most consecutive single-season losses. WIND Chicago News Time 6.
Giving Ukraine more weapons and ammo. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News. A $225 million U.S. military aid package to battle Russia. President Biden now meeting with Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelensky in Paris, France. The president confirmed to ABC News he's letting Ukraine use American weapons inside Russia.
They're authorized to be used in proximity to the border. We're not authorizing strikes 200 miles into Russia. We're not authorizing strikes on Moscow, on the Kremlin.
Later this morning, the president will make a speech touting democracy and freedom. Former President Trump critical of the new Biden border executive order to limit asylum claims to deal with record illegal immigration.
So he's getting killed in the polls. People say that, look, this is really bad what's happening on the border. So they come up with something that's fake.
That was in Phoenix. He also calls the criminal case fake. He was convicted in New York last week of. There are new Fox polls just out taken after he was found guilty.
And the numbers don't look good for President Biden. Take Virginia, for instance. It's not typically considered a battleground state, yet the president and former President Trump are in a dead heat there with 48% each. In Florida, Trump leads Biden 50 to 46%. In Nevada, President Biden is behind former President Trump 45 to 50%. And in Arizona, Trump once again is ahead of the president, 51 to 46%.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. At Hunter Biden's trial, prosecutors may wrap their case today as they charge the president's son with illegally buying a gun. Hallie Biden, the sister-in-law, testified about his drug use.
Hallie later admitted she did not see Hunter physically do drugs from when he returned to Delaware in early October 2018 through the time she discarded the pistol. That testimony is crucial for the defense, who has argued Hunter was abusing alcohol, not drugs, at the time of the gun purchase. But text messages the day after the sale show Hunter admitting he was waiting on a, quote, dealer named Mookie.
That's David Spun. America's listening to Fox News.
60 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. An iron worker died after a scaffolding collapse at a Hyde Park hospital. Chicago Fire says the incident happened at the construction site for the University of Chicago Cancer Pavilion under construction at Maryland and 57th. OSHA says the steel contractor New Horizons has no citations on his record, and there are no investigations at this time into the site's general contractor, Turner Construction. 5 Chicago police officers and a civilian were hurt in a crash on the south side that happened Thursday evening around 7:15 p.m. A marked squad car struck an unmarked vehicle around 63rd and Racine in the city's Inglewood neighborhood. A 25-year-old man from Oakland, California, has now been charged in a stabbing outside Union Station Wednesday afternoon. Wilson Barrino is charged with 1 count of first-degree attempted murder and 1 count of aggravated battery with use of a deadly weapon in the attack against 71-year-old Arlene Rado. Cook County assessor is planning to correct thousands of assessment errors in the south and west suburbs after ABC7 investigators reported about mistakes and skyrocketing increases in property tax assessments. The assessor's office adding the correction process has not yet been finalized. A Northwest Indiana boy's death while in foster care has been ruled a homicide. Dakota Stevens was pronounced dead after being transported to Memorial Hospital South Bend. This week, the death has been ruled a homicide by mechanical asphyxia. A judge sentencing a former DCFS worker convicted of negligence in the 2019 murder of 5-year-old A.J. Friend from Crystal Lake. Carlos Acosta was sentenced Thursday to 6 months in jail, 30 months of probation.
I have lived in and served my community for the last 20 years. I have served as a volunteer, I have served as a professional, I have served as an appointed official, and I have served as an elected official. That being said, I do accept responsibility for my role.
The state told the judge Acosta did not deserve any leniency. Acosta's attorneys argued he's always been a law-abiding citizen and just made bad judgments, as in overworked DCFS official. Chicago sports. White Sox lost to the Red Sox 14-2. The Red Sox hammering out 24 hits in the 14th straight loss for the White Sox. Cubs win streak stopped in an 8-4 loss to Cincinnati. The News is a service of Del Bacchio Marchetti Group of ad properties, Christie's International Real Estate, experts in the northwest suburbs and Chicago. You'll get the most value for your home at 708-828-0000. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager just seeks truth.
The UN has acknowledged that the numbers of women and children killed in Gaza are about half of what has been reported. There will not be one less demonstrator against this gigantic libel of Israeli genocide as a result of this.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Hey, did you know that one of the largest U.S. flags in the state of Georgia stands proudly in Pure Talk's parking lot? Now, to honor that flag, Pure Talk is supporting America's Warrior Partnership. Now, they have a mission to prevent veteran suicide. Now, you can help this great cause simply by making the switch to Pure Talk before Flag Day. Get America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. Just dial pound 250. Say the keyword SAVE NOW for superior cell phone service, half the price of Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and you get to help a vet in need.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance cost you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
6:07. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center Time, a service of Blue Star Security. Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you and your business. Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecurityllc.com. Tri-State. Accident, 2 left lanes blocked. It's on the northbound side between the Hinsdale Oasis, and your delay starts at 31st this morning. Dan Ryan, south end delays as you roll up through 35th, and then another brake light delay, 35th up through the Stevenson. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Ruth O'Brien.
Mostly sunny with a gusty breeze today, high 78. Mainly clear tonight, low 60. Kicking off the weekend, breezy tomorrow with sunshine and patchy clouds with an afternoon thunderstorm, high 75. Another passing evening shower heading our way tomorrow night. I'm Ruth O'Brien on AM 560, The Answer.
60 degrees. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Dr. Robert Redfield, the former head of CDC, including under, I shouldn't say under Tony Fauci, but it felt like he was under Tony Fauci and Deborah Birx during COVID. Redfield was much more balanced and has been throughout the course of the last 3 or 4 years in his comments about COVID, and he's been more forthcoming in testimony before the COVID Select Committee on Coronavirus. He's been more willing to be honest about the failures of the public health establishment. But unfortunately, in the moment, I still find Redfield did not act with as much leadership as he could have, particularly given his position as director of CDC. He could have been more aggressive. He could have been more outspoken earlier. He could have been one of those voices of cognitive dissonance that would have expanded the conversation and, frankly, made it more comfortable for those who would have liked to see the discussion expanded but were afraid to be the nail that stuck up. So Bobby Redfield was on with Fredo Cuomo, of all people. Yeah, Mr. I'm vaccine injured. I'm not vaccine injured after being a dyed-in-the-wool COVIDian. Yeah. Redfield talking about some of what we now know, but also this is in the context of the testimony that Tony Fauci provided this week. Listen to Redfield's review of, in particular, the vaccines. It's a very simple point that he makes, but about the spike protein. And I know everybody was an amateur epidemiologist there for a couple of years, but maybe you need a bit of a refresher. It's a very simple point that he makes that is understandable to the layman, that should have been part of the conversation many years ago, that should have helped to develop an understanding and a sensible, sane approach rather than instigating the moral panic that the COVIDians instigated.
I mean, I was upset with CDC when I left because they stopped tracking people that were infected that were previously vaccinated. So if you didn't track it, well, because then you couldn't report that there were people vaccinated that got infected.
But no, wait, why did they stop tracking it?
But I think there was a decision not to do anything that made the vaccine sound like it didn't work. You know, I've always tried to be honest that I think there was some major mistakes in the vaccines. They should have never been mandated. I also felt that people should have been more honest about the fact that there were side effects to those vaccines, and some people were actually harmed. The other thing, I thought there should be, you know, more honesty about the fact that the vaccines don't protect against infection. I remember Biden saying, you know, this is an epidemic of the unvaccinated. When I was Hogan's chief public health advisor in Maryland after I left CDC, I was saying, wait a minute, 2/3 of the people that I'm seeing infected in Maryland have been vaccinated. I mean, the president of the United States said it. Biden said this was an epidemic of the unvaccinated. Tony wasn't aggressive in putting this in perspective. The CDC didn't put it in perspective. The reality is this vaccine, listen, it's a short duration in which this vaccine provides some efficacy, maybe 4 to 6 months max. You know, if you came down and visited me and interviewed my patients, you know, you'd interview patient after patient after patient that did not have COVID, but are very sick, right. You would say very sick long COVID patients, and it's all from the vaccine. Now, what is it, Chris? Well, it's the spike protein is immunotoxic, all right? When you get infected, it's immunotoxic. But when you give the vaccine, we make the spike protein. Now, this is my opinion, okay? When I give you an mRNA vaccine, which I helped develop, and I've given to a lot of patients, and I've taken it myself multiple times, I don't know how much spike protein you make.
Right.
Because I give you mRNA, and then your body makes it.
Right.
So you make a little, you may make a lot. You may make it for a week, you may make it for a month. I'm now more of the point of view, and I wish the country would switch more rapidly. I'm more of the point of view, and in my clinical practice, I use the protein vaccine. So I know exactly how much spike protein you get. Your body's not becoming a manufacturing plant.
Right.
Okay. I give you a certain amount of spike protein that's not able to replicate, not able to reproduce itself. And I know the decay curve in the human body. And that's the vaccine I use now. It's made by Novavax. I think it's, in my view, it doesn't have all the nuances that we don't understand about those individuals that looks like there's prolonged production or impact or negative consequence from spike protein in some people that get the mRNA vaccine. It's still rare, but it's real.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Boy, oh boy, if we would have had a simple conversation about the concerns and what we don't do and don't know, the duration, I mean, obviously all the other stuff about how limited, as they came to understand fairly early on when the vaxes were being taken, in mass numbers and then ultimately mandated or de facto mandated. We had these conversations back then, informed the public about what we understand, what we think we know, what we definitely don't know, the concerns we have.
Well, shame on the president, shame on Dr. Fauci and Walensky and all of them who said, that this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated, including Pritzker. That you're selfish. And many. It goes on and on and on. And they knew the whole time that even if you were vaccinated, it didn't mean that you couldn't get COVID. And they lied to the American people. That's why I will never trust the government again or the CDC.
And shame on the Pfizer-financed media.
Yeah.
Are
we superstars?
Are we going to get a Pfizer response to what Dr. Redfield just said? Well, he recommends the Novavax vaccine because of exactly what you heard him talking about, what we do and don't know about production of spike protein, and different apparently from person to person as it pertains to the mRNA vaxes.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line.
He wasn't aggressive enough either. Let me just again repeat when during his time as CDC before he left to go work for Larry Hogan in Maryland. But these are some big statements he's making, and they demand a response from as I said, a Pfizer and COVID-addled media, as well as all of these public health officials. Get Fauci and Collins and everybody else, Birx, everybody else back before those congressional committees. At least make them have to answer these questions publicly. I want them to go back and forth. I want to see what was happening behind closed doors out in full public view.
Yep.
That's what's demanded here at minimum. I know people in prosecution and this and that, but let's at least force them in the same place, answering the same questions, so that we can see who really knows what the hell they're talking about, who doesn't. And, let's bring the institutional memory with us. Here's what you said, and
here's what you knew
at the time, and here's what you said versus what you're saying today, or here's what you said in response to this specific issue then. Would you like to revise and extend your remarks? I mean, let's really get into it.
And they don't understand that people lost their jobs. People got divorced because of this. People lost friends because of this.
They understand. They understand it. They understand what happened, which is why they're engaged in this whitewash and this revisionist history. They perfectly understand. You think Tony Fauci doesn't understand what happened to educational outcomes, and that's why he's saying, I didn't say close the schools.
He's such a piece of you-know-what.
Yeah, of course they understand. Oh, and by the way, all of this business that we heard from the Democrats flacking for Fauci when he testified before the House committee this week, analyzing mortality data from 47 Western countries, scientists at a university in the Netherlands found that excess mortality has remained high since 2020 despite the rollout of COVID vaccines and various containment measures. Yeah, despite or maybe because of, and this is what they're getting to. The researchers said the trend raised serious concerns as they urged government leaders and policymakers to thoroughly investigate the underlying causes of persistent excess mortality. All this, we save millions of lives and the unvaccinated cost hundreds of thousands of lives. Well, there's been 3 million excess deaths across the U.S., Europe, and Australia since 2020. 1 million occurred in 2020 at the height of the pandemic. But the figures remain high. It was actually more in 2021 when you had full rollout of the vaccine, 1.2 million. And it was 800,000 in 2022. The death toll figures include fatalities directly linked to the virus, as well as indirect effects of the health strategies to address the virus spread and infection, according to the study. The researchers basically say you have to look at the vaccine injured. The researchers added serious side effects of the vaccine have been documented: ischemic strokes, acute coronary syndromes, brain hemorrhages. This commonality hinders clinical suspicion and consequently its detection as adverse vaccine reactions. This is where they want to go. This is what they want researchers to continue to investigate to understand why, after the rollout of the vaccine, what's the percentage of the American population that's taken at least one jab? 90%, 95%?
I'm in that camp.
So what's happening? Why does excess mortality, why is it staying so persistently high? A spike, 21 to 22, and then it's receded a bit, but it's still approaching it still was approaching in 2022 what it was at the height in 2020, pre-vaccine. Strange. Tony and Roselle, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, everybody. I wanted to ask the doctor. I received the Pfizer 1 and 2. I had to get the Pfizer 3 for work. And then at the end of 22, I had COVID. I was off a few days, and when I came back to work, they gave me Pfizer 4. Now, I had mentioned to the nurse, hey, I was just sick a couple weeks ago. I didn't think nothing of it. She gave me the shot, and I developed what they thought was PMR, and then they rolled out and turned it to fibromyalgia. So I'm on this Cymbalta, and it's physically affected me. And my GP and 2 rheumatologists are like, yeah, it's awful suspicious that this all began with you after your 4th Pfizer shot. But scientifically, I can't, definitively prove that was the shot. But it's kind of screwed me up pretty good.
Sorry to hear that. Thanks for the call, Tony.
If you just had COVID, they should not have given you a 4th shot.
Well, I mean, what go back to what Redfield said is that the mRNA, that the spike protein is immunotoxic. And so, with the vaccine, you want to measure, I know at least with the Novavax, according to him, you know exactly what's going in, and you know the decay cycle, and so there's some confidence there. With the mRNA, it triggers the human body to manufacture spike proteins, which are immunotoxic, and apparently there are differences between individual people in how much spike protein that is immunotoxic you produce. And it leaves open the question of adverse reactions. And again, he said, they're rare. It says, but again, a small percentage of a big number can be a big problem. And maybe this is in part what explains the persistent excess deaths we're seeing in the Western world.
Yep.
Mike and Elgin.
Yeah, hi. I knew a neonatal nurse that worked in the maternity ward, and she said that women that were vaccinated that gave birth, the placenta that came out afterward was black and grotesque looking.
Okay. All right, thanks for the call. I don't know. Okay.
It's the first time hearing of that, but
Jordan in Forest Park.
I've had all of the vaccines. I've had the Pfizer, 3 or 4 of them, whatever they were. Now, I think I'm the only person that when I was having the shots, I was following up by doing an antibody test. Roche Pharmaceuticals developed one, and you could get it for free. You just go to your nearest doctor or the LabCorp company, and all you need was a script. And so you get this, and it tells you specifically how many antibodies you're creating. Now, the antibodies doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily not going to get COVID or protects you, whatever. But I had dramatic increases in the number of antibodies. However, I know an individual, family member, that had all of the shots. I think it was Pfizer, but I'm not sure. And she went in and had the same test done. And it showed that she made virtually no antibodies.
Mm-hmm.
I later found studies that talked about this, and you would be surprised that there are some people that will not develop antibodies, or they develop so little amounts of antibodies. Now, in my case, I think the decay curve, from the time I had a test and then 3 months later I would test myself again, I'd say the decay curve was about 40% after 3 months. So that's just a data point that just shows that there are big differences, and it does reflect what Dr. Redfield mentioned earlier.
Right. Thanks for the call, Jordan. Right. And the point is to say, to what Jordan was saying, what Dr. Redfield said, is this sloganeering as public health advice and counsel is not only insulting, it's dangerous. You can't get or give.
It was reckless.
You can't get or give. Just do what you can't get or give. Now go repeat that to your friends and put your mask on and stand 6 feet apart. All this stuff. The complete infantilization. And unfortunately, there are enough people that became COVIDian zombies, just mindlessly repeating it, including people in positions of authority over other people, that it had the pervasive impact that it did. Which is why we need to continue to talking about it. So, because the next time you hear a complicated matter of public health, particularly when it's a novel event, a novel coronavirus, and we're going to reduce public policy making to a slogan that will impact the lives of 330 million Americans, tell them to go pound sand. I want to see it all. I want all you big shots, all you deep thinkers, you policy panjan drums in D.C. I want you in a forum. I want it public. I want it televised. I want to hear you debate it. Bring it out. And this should be the call for any president. I don't care if it's Trump or anybody else. Bring it out. Bring your advisors before the public. I don't want to have them debate it in public in real time. I want to hear the disagreements. I want to hear the questions they ask each other, because I don't trust what you do behind closed doors anymore. Mark, South Carolina.
Hey, Dan, Amy, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Good. So what struck me odd is my background as an engineer. You're developing a new technology that instructs your body to make a protein. What was the instruction to tell your body to stop making the protein?
Right.
So you think everything's fear. The other point I want to make is you're making all these conclusions, and they're probably very factual, based upon data. All that CDC VAERS data is grossly underreported.
Mm-hmm.
So then now you have to really ask is, how many more people died or were injured from the vaccine than from the actual virus? And I'm saying this as someone who suffered from long COVID and was not vaccinated. So the bottom line is, how did they develop this vaccine? With a splice from the actual disease. It's actually part of the disease itself. So I've always been under the theory that, because I got friends who say we should have got vaccinated, I have a feeling that the people who got long COVID from the virus are the same exact people that would have suffered long effects from the vaccine, because guess what? It's the same spike protein.
Right. Yeah.
So they developed a vaccine, and the reason why they were so adamant about lying is because when you have effective measures like ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, which I wish I would have taken at the beginning, if you have those, you cannot get emergency use authorization. So this is far more sinister than what is being said here.
Or you have to go to an organic pharmacy to get those two.
Yeah, but the point is, the greed of the pharmaceutical industry, the degree of control, the withholding of information, it's sinister.
100%. Absolutely right,
Spot
Mark.
on.
Thanks for the call. And that's what now is being documented. Now we're getting the evidence to support the claims, the suspicions that people had at the time, and the claims that have been made. Now we're starting to really be able to substantiate those claims, and that needs to continue. And we'll do our best to continue it. But, I mean, the point he made about the VAERS, I mean, that's a point we were making all the time during the debate over vaccine mandates and the development of the vaccine. It's self-reporting. So, of course, it's underreported. And it's also inaccurately reported, which is why we kept saying, we kept talking to all of these experts that we had on, all these medical doctors and epidemiologists.
Yeah, and we'd get yanked off of YouTube or what? I mean,
Not that. Who is doing the research into the adverse outcomes? We still don't really have it. This Netherlands study is calling for it. They just did a research looking at the data of excess deaths. So who is going, what academic, well, that doesn't get funded, who is going to actually look into this and try to put together, and I'm not saying it's easy, but at least some more observational studies at minimum that address and help advance our understanding of adverse reactions to the virus. We're 4 years in and still it doesn't seem, other than anecdotally, the stories we hear and sort of clinically, the comments of Dr. Redfield, we still haven't really advanced very much on that issue. 800,000 excess deaths in 2022. Can't wait to see what the number is in 23.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, we'll talk to former alderman and current Republican nominee for Cook County State's Attorney, Bob Fioretti, 6:36.
And who knew cicadas has had STDs here in Illinois? But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike.
6:31, President Joe Biden, for the first time this morning, publicly apologizing to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for months-long holdups in American military assistance that let Russia, Zelensky says, make gains on the battlefield. Biden and Zelensky are meeting today in Paris. The first heat wave of the year expected to maintain a solid grip on the southwest U.S., temperatures soaring past 110. At least 9 Yemeni employees of the one UN agency have been detained by Houthi rebels under unclear circumstances today. The detentions come as the Houthis continue targeting shipping throughout the Red Sea corridor over what they say is the Israel-Hamas war. Jaylen Brown had 22, Kristaps Porzingis 20 in his first game in more than a month as the Celtics power past Dallas 107-89, Game 1 of the NBA Finals. An iron worker died after a scaffolding collapse at a Hyde Park Hospital construction site. Chicago Fire says the incident happened at the site on Maryland near 57th around noon yesterday. OSHA says the steel contractor, New Horizons, has no citations on its record. Illinois State Police investigating say 2 have been arrested after a man was hurt in a road rage shooting on I-57. Tavon Green Poway is charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. It happened on Monday night. Chicago Police Department offered first looks into how officers are training as they prepare for the Democrat National Convention in August. Cities anticipating large demonstrations that could result in mass arrests. Superintendent Larry Snelling saying they're already ready.
These officers are going to be dealing with a lot. They're going to be dealing with volatile situations. They're going to be asked to stand down in situations where the average human being would respond, probably violently.
The officers at the training session were among the 2,500 who will be on the front lines during the DNC. They are getting priority training that eventually will be given to all officers. CPD Captain Jake Alderton.
Personally, I think if you polled all the officers here and said, would you like to have or not have a body camera, I absolutely believe the overwhelming, if not the entirety of the response would be, I absolutely want a camera.
Along with that training, all of the 2,500 officers on the front lines will be wearing body cameras for accountability and Larry Snelling says for their own protection. A former Fenton High School student is suing the district, saying it failed to protect her from sexual assault. In a lawsuit, the woman accuses the Fenton High School District 100 board of continuing to employ a teacher and even promote him after his behavior had been reported to the Bensonville school. Chicago sports. Red Sox beat the White Sox 14-2. The loss puts the White Sox at a franchise record for most consecutive single-season losses, dropping their 14th straight game. Cubs win streak stopped in an 8-4 loss to Cincinnati. IHSA Boys State semifinal baseball this afternoon in Joliet. In 4A, it's Providence Catholic facing number 1 seed Edwardsville, and York will meet Conan. 3A baseball, Morris and Crystal Lake Central, and Lamont battles number 1 seed Highland. Girls softball semis, Mundelein and Marist, Oswego and St. Charles North. In 4A. In 3A, it's Fenwick and Pontiac. The news service of Team Hochberg. Let Team Hochberg help you by visiting 56david.com or call 855-563-2843. They've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners with the best rates and service. Lower.com Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is concerned for the president.
You got to see the video clip, and then you got to call me and tell me what in the world is wrong with the guy. His eyes are like frozen open. I've never seen anything like it. Certainly never seen him like this. There is something seriously wrong with him. And he's a couple weeks from trying to get on a debate stage with Donald Trump. Good luck.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Would you go to court without a lawyer when the other guy is lawyered up? Or are you going to go it alone and learn law and procedure as you go? When you have an insurance claim for your home or business, it's the same thing.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company.
Insurance companies will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them. Not you.
If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%, and we could do the same for you. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom. Building trust for over 20 years.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Tom. Welcome to my garage. I don't need new cars. In fact, I like old cars. Old cars remind me of me. I take Balance of Nature. I feel great. Take my word for it. If you want to feel great, take Balance of Nature. You'll never regret it.
Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage, available at Navage.com.
It is 6:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Macy's, where you can find the perfect Father's Day gift with Macy's Gift Finder. Couple of clicks, you'll get personalized gift ideas for every dad at every budget. Visit Macy's.com/gift finder and give love today at Macy's. Jane Addams, I-90 westbound, right near Barrington Road. There's a medical emergency with a right lane blocked with equipment. Tri-State, due to a much earlier accident, Northbound, you're jammed up between the Mylong Bridge all the way to 31st. Dan Ryan, especially on the in the mid-range between Pershing and the Stevenson. Stop and go right now, and stop and go on the Stevenson outbound between LaGrange Road and the Tri-State. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny with a gusty breeze. Some of those winds could top 35 miles an hour. High 78. Mainly clear and a low of 60. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, updating the defund, decarcerate, non-prosecution crowd. Takes us to Cambridge, Massachusetts, where they're doing what they said they would do. And I'm excited to see how it turns out. Meet the Cambridge care teams to respond to 911 calls. We could use them here, right? Because we've got a problem with respect to the volume of calls, 911 calls, and the lack of the corresponding volume of police officers.
We're definitely a pioneer in this approach.
A tentative plan to send a team of unarmed social workers to some emergency 911 calls in Cambridge could officially be rolled out as soon as next month, says Liz Speakman, director of the city's new Community Assistance Response and Engagement.
Having an unarmed civilian with experience in mental health going to mental health calls is really the right response.
Speakman tells us that the 5 members of the care team have extensive backgrounds as social workers and first responders. Unlike some other alternative response programs recently deployed in other cities across the country, the care team will not be accompanied by police when they are sent to nonviolent mental health related calls.
If anything goes wrong, if there's any safety concerns, they can radio for assistance immediately and get backup right away.
It's an opportunity for us to help fix a system that's been broken for a really long time.
Care team member Marie Matthew is eager to start responding to emergencies that are presently handled by police with guns.
I think this program is an opportunity for us to take care of the people that we are trained to take care of.
Save that clip because somebody should play it at her funeral.
Dan.
I'm telling you.
I mean, it could be the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No, but this is what's. But yeah, it was laughed at when people were proposing it at the same time they were advocating for defunding the police. Now it's reality because this is a mental disorder that these mental health professionals have, and it's going to get them hurt or killed.
The care team 5, like they're superheroes.
Somebody's
swooping.
Somebody's going to get hurt or killed. And that's just the nature. But, I mean, we see the same pathology in Chicago where you support politicians who support defund, decarcerate, non-prosecution, and then you get carjacked. Then you get robbed. Then you get sucker punched for no reason on the street. And it's so your ideology is a danger to your public safety. And they don't see it. And unfortunately, many of them won't see it until they're victimized. I'm just saying, that's Chicago.
Well, this is what it looks like when you defund the police.
For more on this and other matters of law and order, please be joined by former Chicago Alderman Bob Fioretti, who is now the Cook County State's Attorney, the Republican nominee for Cook County State's Attorney in November. Bob, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good to be here. Thank you much.
Well, in the wake of, more instances of violence and in places that are unexpected, like the couple last Friday night walking home from date night in Streeterville and gets descended upon by a group, the woman said, of 10 people who beat them both up. She loses her child. She was pregnant. The murder of Zet Rodriguez, that young man in the Dunning neighborhood, by 2 convicted felons. And what do we know about those convicted felons? Actually, we do know a few things. We'll get to that. You know, the response from the, I guess, power structure in city government has been pretty tepid. It's basically been limited to Alderman Brian Hopkins saying we should have an 8 p.m. curfew in the city center. What's your response to these recent high-profile events that have people on edge?
First of all, I think this defund movement started a long time ago. The failure of both Daley administration and Rahm administration to fill the vacancies in the police numbers, and instead what they did, they cut them out of the budget. They kept lowering it. We now have maybe 11,000 police officers out there. What does that really mean when you think about it? Because it's a 24/7 job. They're on duty all the time. How many of those are administrators? How many of those are in the wagons to take people out? So we have scant resources out there. You're right when you talk about defund the police and the non-prosecution movement, because that's what the matchup of Kim Foxx, Tony Preckwinkle have caused. And the candidate on the Democratic side is no different. Now, what happened to that couple that was beat up in that area over there, it has been lately on Fridays and Saturdays, a traditional gang hangout. We have to upgrade the charges. It's clear. They should not have been charged with misdemeanors. They should have been charged with aggravated bodily harm on a public way, felony, aggravated battery with great bodily injury, a felony. But you know what? Instead, this government, this state's attorney, and I believe until I hear otherwise from the Democratic nominee, they want to charge him with the least punitive aspect. What does that cause? No consequences.
Yeah, and they'll probably be back out there again this weekend doing the same thing. But what about this 8 p.m. curfew? Is that going to do anything or give police any arresting power?
The numbers, because Alderman Hopkins may have some good intentions here, but I have defended city ordinances. I've rewritten many police general and specific ordinances, and orders, I should say. And when you look at it, it has to be narrowly construed. It's got to be you have to look at what the government interest is. You have to look at a particular area, a particular problem, and a particular group that you're trying to make sure you resolve the problem. I mean,
see, to me, this is all. I mean, to my mind, this is all a waste of time. It's really simple. Shot spotter or not shot spotter, curfew or not curfew. If you do not prosecute repeat violent offenders to the fullest extent of the law, nothing else matters. If you're going to do that, you're going to encourage the cops to be proactive if you have that relationship, and the cops do their job, and the prosecutors put repeat violent offenders away. The small percentage of repeat violent offenders who are responsible for a preponderant amount of the crime. If that is the only conversation we should be having, in my view.
All we should do is follow the law, and that's it. And if we start following the law, we can start cleaning up our streets. Maybe we should be looking at these parents where we have repeat numbers. You can't just do it because of one, but maybe we should start charging these parents. Bad parenting is not a crime, but if it's continual with your sons and daughters, it's time to start charging the parents. And we should be looking at a broader aspect. I mean, the biggest problem we have here in the city is we don't have any parents. Parenting isn't a job; it's a passion, and there's no do-overs with these kids. And what's happening in our neighborhoods, in our areas of the city of Chicago, we see it over and over. These are all preventable crimes. And if we start following the law, on vehicle stops, instead of creating nonsense and taking guns off the streets, what we should be doing, then we can have a safer society. I know when I am the state's attorney, law enforcement's going to have an ally in that office.
Yeah, where's
she?
Where's Eileen Burke? I mean, and there's so many opportunities. There's so much going on. I mean, the Dexter Reed shooting and that woman who heads COPA wants these officers stripped of their police power. I mean, and there's no response from obviously there's no response from Ken Fox, but there's no response from the presumptive next state's attorney too, unless people start thinking differently. Eileen Burke, and nobody challenges her to respond to these high-profile incidences of crime, to this negotiation ongoing between City Hall and the would-be protesters about what will and won't be allowed to the DNC. I would think that the Cook County State's Attorney or prospective Cook County State's Attorneys would want to weigh in on that. And if the power structure as it currently exists doesn't want to send a message to people coming to Chicago during the DNC, then maybe a prospective Cook County prosecutor would want to do that.
Well, when you're looking at what Eileen O'Neill Burke is, she's a product of the Democratic machine. She gave $43,000 to be slated for an appellate court position that was unopposed. And who did she give it to? The Democratic Party, Mike Madigan, Ed Burke, and Tony Preckwinkle. $43,000 to have that job. And whatever happened after she then gave her announcement and said, I'm the nominee, what did Preckwinkle and they cut a deal. As simple as that. If we're going to start standing up for crime, if we're going to start stopping what's going on in our streets, we need somebody that's going to back our police, back our prosecutors, and follow the law. And I'm the candidate.
So what's your message to those protesters or worse that may be descending on Chicago during the DNC? What would your message be if you were sitting in that office?
You commit the crime, you're going to do the time. Simple.
And the proactivity from the prosecutor's office, from the Cook County State's Attorney's office, what would that look like, even if you're not getting cooperation, say, from the fifth floor at City Hall?
Well, you know what? I look at what the fifth floor has become. They are the defund the police. They are believing in no prosecutions. They are the ones who say, well, we shouldn't grade our students because, you know what, it's too much of a problem to have traditional standards of writing, grading, teaching, because you know what? If we do have those traditional standards, that's white supremacy and racism, and that all has to stop. We need to start establishing and bringing kids good education, good opportunities, and follow the law.
Is there any prospect that you're going to be able to beat Eileen Burke out of the brush and have debates and raise the profile on this race over the last 5 months?
Well, I'm going to start asking and calling for debates shortly on her and see what she wants to do. I know some of the media outlets, the traditional ones, have tried to reach out from what I understand from them. We're willing and able. We should probably be having it not just on television we should be in every ward, in every city or every township. And if necessary, we've got 17 different county districts. We can have one in each district. Let's just do it. We can start tomorrow. I'm ready to go.
And when you're out there campaigning, what are you hearing from people?
I'm hearing the same thing. This has got to stop, whether it's a black, brown, or white neighborhood. They are fed up with crime. They're fed up with the way the spending is happening. They want to have opportunities for their kids. Otherwise, they've got one foot out the door, and it doesn't matter which neighborhood you're in. They all have a foot out the door.
Is Burke even campaigning at this point?
Well, I just saw somebody sent me something that she's having a private-only invite to hear community concerns at Navy Pier at some restaurant or bar or something like that. But if she's campaigning, I'd like to know, because maybe we can meet on the campaign trail and talk about what the real issues are and how we solve crime here in this city.
He is Bob Fioretti. He's a two-term Chicago alderman, now the Republican nominee for the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. By the way, are you getting support from the Republican Party to the extent it's discernible in Cook County or Illinois?
I think it's coming together slowly and surely, but they better speed it up a little bit because we have a long way to go, even though the election will be tomorrow. But I do see changes between from Republicans, Fioretti Democrats, and independents are combining together, and we're going to usher in a new age here in this city and in this county, and hopefully we can stem the tide of what's happening here and prevent people from moving out and create the opportunities that are necessary.
And the website, if people want to get more information on your campaign?
FiorettiForCook.com.
FiorettiForCook.com. Bob Fioretti, Republican nominee for Cook County State's Attorney. Bob, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Talk to you all later.
Yep, thank you. Good luck. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, business owners, are you wondering how to grow your business? Do you need cash flow and a ready source for financing? Well, Signature Bank can help. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that Signature Bank's loan decisions are made locally by a team who knows your name, cares about your business, and is invested in your success. When you need advice about your business or even have a question, Signature Bank is there to help. There are no handoffs or call centers. This is a team that wants to get to know you and your business. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right. I'm a customer. When I call, someone picks up the phone on the other end. And with Signature Bank, I can securely bank anywhere, anytime. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630. That's 773-467-5630. Or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. Signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is a red alert for hard-working Americans who are tired of seeing their freedoms and retirement savings threatened by the globalist agenda. Wealth Protection Research is on a mission to find whistleblowers who are exposing these schemes. Real patriotic financial warriors like Jim Rickards and Porter Stansberry. They're not afraid to tell it like it is and fight back against the system. Now, with the 2024 election storming our way, your IRA and your 401k may be in the crosshairs. That's why we've compiled our 3 favorite ideas into our Election Protection Report. You definitely won't hear any of these in the mainstream news. Get your free copy of our Election Protection Report now. Just text TRUTH to 76626. Plus, today you'll also get a free gold investment kit from our sponsor, Augusta Precious Metals. Text TRUTH to 76626 now and get the free report and gold investment kit. The fight for your financial freedom is on. Text the word TRUTH to 76626.
Standard text and data rates may apply.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson here. You know when you're at the mall and you go to those directory signs, the one that says you are here? Well, imagine that directory is a map of your preparation for retirement. Would you know where you are? My friend Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group is offering you the opportunity to not only find yourself on that map, but also find the route toward a successful retirement. He calls it his retirement roadmap. You'll get an analysis of where you are right now, whether you're at risk if the market drops again, whether you're taking advantage of the latest tax changes, and much, much more. To get an idea where you stand on the road to retirement, call my friend Tom Fortino at the Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-934-1855. That's 630-934-1855. And ask for the retirement roadmap or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And don't forget to listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560, The Answer at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Our communities deserve to have their tax dollars spent efficiently. All over Chicagoland, there is an increased need for vital projects like wetland improvements, enhancing water quality, or stormwater mitigation to protect homes against devastating floods. Too often, public officials find themselves at the mercy of outside advisors when planning, budgeting, and building these projects. And let's face it, they rarely meet deadlines or budgets, leaving our communities vulnerable. There's a better way forward. Control Point Engineering. At Control Point Engineering, we're more than just civil engineers. We're champions of quality and efficiency with over 40 years of hands-on experience. Teaming up with Earthworks Land Development, we're breaking down barriers and streamlining processes. Say goodbye to disjointed partnerships and hello to seamless collaboration. From conceptualization to construction, Control Point Engineering delivers everything you need in one unified package, saving you time and money. Visit ControlPointLLC.com today to learn about our successful projects all across Chicagoland. Again, that's ControlPointLLC.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Resolved, the rainbow flag is a separatist symbol. I'll hear arguments at 7:07. Take your calls.
Today it's going to be mostly sunny with a gusty breeze, a high of 78 degrees. It's now 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
A promise from president to president. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
I assure you, the United States is going to stand with you.
President Biden said that to Ukraine's leader as the two meet now in France as the U.S. provides another $225 million military aid package. The president apologizing for a delay in approval in Congress. Volodymyr Zelensky says that support helping fend off Russia's invasion is vital.
Like it was during World War II, how the United States helped to save human lives, to save Europe.
In a few hours, we'll hear again from the president. Normandy, France, touting democracy and freedom. Fox's Peter Ducey's there.
This might be the most breathtaking backdrop for any presidential speech since Ronald Reagan used it 40 years ago. The lectern with the presidential seal is sitting atop a German bunker that is on top of a 100-foot cliff that Army Rangers on this day 80 years ago took.
Next month, Israel's prime minister will deliver a speech to a joint meeting of Congress July 24th as the U.S. keeps urging Benjamin Netanyahu to agree to a ceasefire with Hamas in Gaza. At Hunter Biden's trial, the prosecution may wrap up its case today, charging the president's son with illegally buying a gun in 2018 while an illegal drug user.
The prosecution only has two more witnesses before the defense takes over this case, so it's possible we could have a verdict by early next week.
Fox's David Spun outside the court in Wilmington, Delaware.
James Biden, the president's brother, also known as Jim Biden, Hunter's uncle, who did some business deals with Hunter. He is expected at some point to be called as a defense witness.
An American soldier also on trial in Russia.
U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Gordon Black is accused of stealing money from his Russian girlfriend. The 34-year-old was on leave but not authorized to travel to Russia. The alleged victim, Alexandra Vaschuk, told reporters Black became aggressive and stole money during a simple domestic dispute.
Jonathan Savage, America's listening to Fox News.
60 degrees, sunshine at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. An iron worker is dead after a scaffolding collapse at a Hyde Park hospital project. Chicago Fire Department says the incident happened at the construction site for the University of Chicago Cancer Pavilion on Maryland, right near 57th Street. Happened around noontime. The two workers were on scaffolding for the elevator shaft construction when they believe high winds caused the scaffolding to collapse. 5 Chicago police officers and a civilian were hurt in a crash on the south side Thursday evening near 63rd and Racine. One of the officers was taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center in serious condition. Some libraries in underserved areas of Illinois will be able to make some tech upgrades as a result of new grant funding from the Secretary of State's office and from state taxpayers. Here's AM 560's Kevin Bessler.
The Illinois Secretary of State's office is awarding $2 million in grants to assist libraries with technology upgrades. Alexi Giannoulias, the Illinois State Librarian, says some libraries have lagged behind the world of technology.
But as the world changes and technology evolves, libraries must transform as well so they can deliver programming and services that meet the needs of their customers and communities.
Congressman Chuy Garcia says libraries can help with those who don't have access to quality broadband.
Digital equity is a matter of justice, and libraries help provide that access to technology.
To qualify for the grant funding, communities must be eligible for equalization aid grant funding as a result of a low tax base and a high poverty rate. I'm Kevin Bessler.
A Northwest Indiana boy's death while in foster care has been ruled a homicide. Dakota Stevens, 10 years old, was pronounced dead after being transported to Memorial Hospital of South Bend back at the end of April. Details surrounding the death were released this week. His death was ruled a homicide by mechanical asphyxia. With a loss to the Red Sox last night, White Sox set a franchise record for most consecutive single-season losses, dropping their 14th straight as the Red Sox beat the White Sox 14-2. Cubs win streak stopped in an 8-4 loss in Cincinnati. June minicamp over for the Bears, optional OTAs next week. And the team announcing their public practice schedule for training camp, which starts in late July. Open practice days for the public start on Friday, July 26. The last 2 days, August 14 and 15, will see the Bengals in town for practices ahead of a preseason game August 17. The news, a service of Valdecast Windows for the discerning homeowner looking for high-quality and professional-level window replacement service. Contact Valdecast Windows, your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella-certified contractor. Visit Valdecast.com. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains the feeble mind.
New York Times had a piece, a column by someone who wrote that she's not having children because of climate change. The ease with which people on the left are brainwashed is one of the scariest parts. If you're not brainwashed, then you're not a leftist. Anything that they're told by the New York Times, they believe.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Over the years, Eric has built a great company. He's grown his business, increased his client base, and now has multiple locations. But there's one thing that Eric should be concerned about, and that's his network. While Eric's company has grown, his network evolved into a mess and has left him vulnerable to cyber attacks like ransomware that can fold up his business permanently. He thought his basic network that evolved from years ago was enough, but it's not just his server that's at risk. Cyber attacks affect the full infrastructure of a business, right down to customer data, employee devices, and even their smartphones. So Eric came to Turnkey to help protect his business, his team, and his clients. Thanks to Turnkey, Eric's network was overhauled and thoroughly secured, moving forward with real-time threat hunting protection. Turnkey has the solutions to protect your business. Want to build and improve your network? Turnkey can help with cutting-edge IT solutions. Start a conversation today. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Hey, did you know that one of the largest U.S. flags in the state of Georgia stands proudly in Pure Talk's parking lot? Now, to honor that flag, Pure Talk is supporting America's Warrior Partnership. Now, they have a mission to prevent veteran suicide. Now, you can help this great cause simply by making the switch to Pure Talk before Flag Day. Get America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. Just dial pound 250. Say the keyword SAVE NOW for superior cell phone service, half the price of Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and you get to help a vet in need.
Are your file cabinets stuffed with work orders, invoices, bills of lading, medical records, and or compliance papers? There's a solution to clear the clutter by converting your documents into accessible digital form with the help of IDT. They can scan your documents for you or provide you with the technology to transform your workspace with easy and innovative IoT smart connected scanning technology. IoT smart connected scanning not only captures your information, it connects your documents directly to your existing digital systems, ensuring seamless integration and immediate access. Plus, it works with your existing Microsoft Office 365 technology. Convert those physical files into secure, searchable, easy-to-find digital formats. Goodbye, paper chaos. Hello, streamlined, secure digital environment. Visit ready4idt.com. That's ready, the number 4idt.com. IDT, putting paper in its place.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Fox Valley Coins. Currently buying all gold and silver bars, coins, silver dollars, rare date, proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. Tri-State southbound, you're jammed. Roosevelt to Ogden. Jane Addams, very slow on the ramp to southbound 53 from I-90. Due to an earlier accident, the Tri-State jammed up northbound right at Archer Avenue. Dan Ryan stop and go inbound 43rd up through the Stevenson. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Ruth O'Brien.
For today, mostly sunny with a gusty breeze, high 78, mainly clear tonight, low 60. Breezy to kick off the weekend tomorrow, sunshine and patchy clouds with an afternoon thunderstorm, high 75. Passing evening shower tomorrow night as well. I'm Ruth O'Brien on AM 560 The Answer.
Next news 7:30, Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Excuse me, going next level in Tampa Bay when it comes to Pride Month.
Yeah, what are they doing?
Tampa Bay police officers are donning rainbow badges.
We all want to feel safe and respected, no matter who we are. Our newest commemorative badge, one of 9 that members of the department can choose to collect or wear, is a symbol of our department's commitment to serving members of the LGBTQ+ community with understanding. By fostering open communication, we can make sure that everyone feels comfortable reaching out to the police whenever they need help. The badge incorporates the rainbow flag as well as the 5-color chevron that represents people of color and the transgender community. Together, these colors symbolize the continued progress for marginalized groups within the LGBTQ+ community and the forward movement for inclusion within society.
This badge can be a conversation starter, a way to show that we are allies, and a symbol of safety for those who might be hesitant to interact with the police.
We're here to listen, learn, and help you with anything that works towards creating a feeling of a safer, more inclusive community for everyone.
Isn't that great? You got the FBI marching in the Pride Parade in West Hollywood. You got Tampa Bay police officers wearing commemorative rainbow badges to express their inclusivity, to express their support for marginalized communities. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I hope the rainbow badges will be coming to a community near you. I mean, I'm shocked and dismayed that an Oak Park, a River Forest, a Wilmette, and Naperville, Downers Grove have not already acted in the direction that Tampa Bay has.
I mean, why are people forcing us to celebrate their sexuality? I don't get it. And the police officers, that is none of their business. Their business is to serve and protect and not push a social agenda. And that is exactly what they're doing.
Thinking about this, the rainbow flag is a separatist flag. That's my contention. It is like you saw during the Black Lives Matter protests, the Black Liberation flag. That's a separatist flag. When it is given equal standing to the American flag, or better than equal standing, because ultimately that's the point, it speaks to the separatism that's based on identity, which by definition is a separatist movement. Identity politics is a separatist movement. It is a degenerative movement, and I mean that politically and in basically every other way too, morally and so intellectually. Starting to get that. So I know it went on this rant yesterday about the useful idiots running around with their rainbow paraphernalia on, and it's all supposed to be celebratory and rooted in love, but it's not. It's not. It is a separatist political movement, and it should be understood as such. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I mean, I hope the logic of this is pretty clear. I'm happy to take disagreement. River Forest District 90 is hosting its third consecutive pro-homosexuality walk. I don't think they call it that, but that's what it is. They did this Monday. They did this past Monday. Mm-hmm. The event was, of course, for students ages 6 to 14, kindergarten through 8, who marched to River Forest Village Hall to raise the Progress Pride flag.
The Progress Pride flag? Is that different than the Pride flag?
The Progress Pride flag raised at River Forest Village Hall by grade schoolers to be honored alongside the American flag. Well, why even maintain the American flag? We have race hustlers and gender identity hustlers say the American flag is a hate symbol. These towns and this state is dominated by those people. Take the American flags down and fly the pride flag, like fly the black ISIS flag to denote this is occupied territory. This is the land of the Rainbow Stasi. River Forest certainly is.
I mean, we're not even celebrating the birth of America, the 4th of July. They canceled fireworks in Chicago and in Milwaukee. Well, I mean, that's just not, that was a rite of passage. That is something we've had in Chicago all along.
Take the flag down, take the American flag down, and put the Pride or the Progress Pride flag up as the official flag of River Forest, of Oak Park, of the state of Illinois. Who's with me?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
Let's be honest. Sure. Let's just be honest about it.
Just keep it up the whole year.
No. Replace.
Okay.
Since that's the goal, let's provide the path to achieving that goal. Since people don't believe it. I'm sure people don't believe it. Oh, no, it's just this. It's just an olive branch. It's an overture. It's just making sure people feel seen and loved. Is that what it is? The walk, River Forest kids age 6 to 14 to raise the Progress Pride flag at Village Hall next to the American flag was sponsored by, of course, River Forest taxpayers. The Oak Park Area Lesbian and Gay Association, the Lincoln School Parent-Teacher Association, because this was Lincoln School in River Forest, the Belongingness and Inclusion Committee, the Willard School Parent-Teacher Organization, Belongingness Committee, the Roosevelt School Parent-Teacher Organization, Committee for Inclusion and Belonging, the Lincoln Willard Roosevelt School Rainbow Clubs, and the Willard School Kindness Club.
Kindness Club.
I mean, when you hear the names of these organizations, these platoons of totalitarianism, as opposed to the platoons of democracy that actual civic groups represent. I mean, doesn't it strike you what this is? I couldn't be prouder to be part of a school community that prioritizes the celebration and inclusion of all kids, said Lincoln Elementary School Principal Casey Godfrey. The D90 Pride and Inclusion Walk is always the best way to kick off the last week of school and celebrate an incredible community. Is that what it's doing? That's what it's doing. Well, this is what it engenders in response. For example, we told you about this bar in Idaho earlier in the week, but the
heterosexual day, or
the owner of the bar has now addressed the Heterosexual Awesomeness Month that he has declared at his bar, the Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho.
They didn't shut him down, did they?
Meet Matt Fitzpatrick.
Hey, my name is Mark Fitzpatrick, owner of Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho. Our saloon has become the heterosexual headquarters. We launched Heterosexual Awesomeness Month for June. Monday is Heterosexual Male Monday, and if you're a heterosexual male and you come in here, you get a beer for free. There's no strings attached. We'll call it Beers for Breeders. On Wednesdays, if you're a heterosexual couple, you get 15% off your entire bill. And on Thursdays, all day is Her Hetero Happy Hour. So heterosexual awesomeness is basically an opportunity to celebrate God's design for man and woman and that sexual attraction between them. Idaho's the reddest state in the country, as you know. We've got so many people here who are like-minded. and who want to do what's right. They want to do what's moral. I think that this country is ready to stand up and say, hey, enough is enough. Let's stand for things that are right and true and godly. Everybody is welcome to come here and help us celebrate Heterosexual Awesomeness Month.
And apparently Mark Fitzpatrick's bar, the Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho, is a Post Malone bar.
Yeah.
So
love that song.
Which is good, too. Kevin, Austin, Texas, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Amy and Dan. I think somebody needs to create an all-inclusive virtue signal flag of some kind. I'm not sure what it would look like, but it's basically for suburban moms to say, hey, please don't egg my house or something like that. An all-inclusive virtue signal flag. What do you think?
Yeah, they've got it. It's the rainbow flag, and then the enhanced rainbow flag, and the Progress Pride flag, and but
there's the LGBTQ flag, and
but I wouldn't dismiss this as just virtue signaling. It trivializes it as I know that it's trivial for most people, but it trivializes what this gender identity movement is about, as I described yesterday. There's serious people doing serious damage to living in a free society, a free and peaceful, pluralist society. These are totalitarians, and they're useful idiots, and you know them by the rainbow battle gear they wear. David in Winnetka.
Hey, good morning, guys. So I used to hang out with a friend from my old work about 15 years ago, a homosexual guy named Bruce. Some days we'd go to the homosexual clubs after work. Some days the straight, places, and we just mix it up. But when we would be in the homosexual places, oh my God, it was anything but love. It was just anger towards each other, meanness, cattiness, just fights. Oh, you should see these guys fight. Like they're taking combs out and scratching each other's eyes out. And it was just unbelievable. So yeah, there's nothing loving about this movement at all. It's hey, it's in your face. Here I am to disrupt you.
Well, thanks for the call, David. Again, the movement is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, I said this yesterday, I'm not talking about individual gay people. And there's obviously a lot of gay people who find these lascivious parades and the politics of this movement objectionable. But the movement, the political movement, that's what you have to maintain focus on to drive understanding that this is a neo-Marxist political movement. And there are purpose-driven people doing purposeful things, advancing this movement. And then it's all sort of behind this facade of love and tolerance and inclusivity and belongingness committees. Because so many people are rubes, and they are easily swayed and persuaded because of the societal status rewards for falling in with this movement. Susan in Hebron.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. This is one of my problems with this subject. I do an art program for a children's organization, and that we have colorful beads. The kids can make designs, and then they're melted together. And sitting at a table with all these kids, one of the little 12-year-olds was doing these gorgeous designs, cute shapes and colorful. And then someone asked her about them, and she identified what each flag meant, the purpose, and all this conversation. And then she created one that was a plain rectangle with black and gray stripes. And that was the one that represented male-female relationships. I was absolutely stunned. And where did she get that information? Where are they getting this information from?
School.
Incredible. I just had to share that.
Thanks for the call, Susan. I'm glad you did. Right. And the cops in Tampa Bay, the FBI agents in West Hollywood. And again, I'd love to hear from cops. What would happen if it came to your department? Are you going to throw in with this political movement too? Are you going to pretend to be unaware of it?
Well, I wouldn't want them to have their badges be pink for breast cancer awareness. Just keep all of that out of it, please. I knew the second that pink started hitting the football field on the NFL, I'm like, this is the beginning of the end.
Pink, that's apples and oranges. The Susan G. Komen Foundation is pro-abortion, but that's not a political movement in the way that this Lavender Bund is.
I gave them a way in.
Where are the police? Where's the police union in Tampa Bay? Where would the police union in Chicago be? Where would the FOP be? Make a stand that the law enforcement is not going to be used to advance a particular political movement, because that's what this is. But you have to make the argument. Otherwise, they just fall in because it's the path of least resistance and because they don't want the static. Nobody wants to take any heat. Nobody wants any static. Nobody wants to die on a hill that isn't directly related to their pension benefits, their financial well-being. Okay. Well, by the way, your kids see that example too. Since everything is for my family, I got to do everything for my family. Well, your kids see the example you're setting, ostensibly for your family. Does that concern you at all? Yet that you're genuflecting before this anti-American gender identity political movement that believes the American flag, and by extension America, the American flag is a hate symbol, and America is a irreparably racist, homophobic, and so on and so forth society that needs to be reimagined through revolution of the identitarians. That's a fact. That is what they are attempting to do. They couldn't make it more obvious. You have to be willfully blind to not see it. And it's everywhere. Gabby Schomburg.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. They're cultural Marxists. They're the real Nazis. And I think for every rainbow flag you see flying, people should be hanging the American flag. That's how we fight. Because if it wasn't for the American flag, if it wasn't for the patriots, these people, we know what happens in other countries to these people. I'm not interested in what you do in your bedroom.
Thanks for the call, Gabby. We've talked about it, but just to repeat for emphasis along the lines of this argument I'm making, since so many scales cover so many eyes still, Queers for Palestine?
I mean, are you... Oh.
What does that tell you? Forget that they don't understand, that they wouldn't be accepted in the Muslim... Forget that. What does it tell you about them? It's a political movement. Identitarians of the world unite for the revolution against the patriarchal oppressor, America. Jordan in Antioch.
Good morning. There was I don't know if movement is the right word. It doesn't. When I think movement, I think, the hippie movement. I think
that's not
the Tea Party. Wait, the Tea Party movement. I think MAGA, right? Grassroots movements that are driven strictly by desire. This is the same movement. If everybody ever read their history books, there was a movement a lot like this in a European country, and all the kids wore brown shirts, right? So
yeah, well, those are movements. Movement is value neutral.
I know, but it just seems to take away from an actual legitimate grassroots movement. Either way, so that being said, the caller Brian a couple days ago talked about being seen. I don't know what he means by that, because that's all I see. Now, what I don't see in some school districts is if I see a kid, I hear about a kid who wants to wear a Donald Trump shirt, he might get expelled. If I'm old enough to remember a time when, depending on the neighborhood you lived, if you flew a Gadsden flag, you had to seriously be worried that your neighbor might be able to call and you might be able to be put on an FBI watch list. So this stuff is pushed through our schools. And why is it pushed through our schools? Because the kids they don't want to displease anybody. That's why coaches are so influential. Somebody they don't even know can be so influential in their life, a teacher, a coach, because they're easily swayed. So that's why they push this in the schools. And I'm going to go back to the original statement I made a long time ago. And Dan, you're exactly correct in this. This is a Marxist movement. This is pushed politically. And if anybody has any kind of family values, cares about their children, and you can paint this as hate speech, whatever you want to. If you are befriending and you are sending your kids into a house that will willingly and knowingly fly that flag, which by no coincidence does it represent the stars and bars, like you said, Dan, trying to replace it. If you knowingly and willingly send your kids into that home, you are knowingly and willingly sending them into a home that is going to try to indoctrinate them, try to turn them against you, and try to undo everything that you've done in their lives if you truly care about your kids. You're right. This is a movement, and it's time to stand. That lady that called in and said about putting the American flag, there should be a ton of them. If you actually want to stand against this, then stand against it. But this is a movement, and this replicates something that happened a long time ago that they like to push on Trump and say that all of his followers are. But these kids wore brown shirts and listened to what they were told and grew up to be hateful, nasty people, just like these people.
Thanks for the call, Jordan. Appreciate it. Gil, Southwest Side. Hey, Gil.
Good morning. Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good.
Just calling, all the Cook County courthouses, they have the pride flag up at all of them, next to the American flag. And me being a veteran, I'd rather salute the American flag than the pride flag. Those are just my thoughts for the day. Have a good day.
Thanks for the call, Gil. Yeah, I think
next year they'll probably change their badges.
I think Ro Khan's in charge of putting all those flags up. Cook County Sheriff's Department, right? Isn't he?
He's a carjacking division.
Yeah. Oh, law enforcement officer. Yeah, right. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, sure. Okay.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:37, we'll talk to Paul Ingracia, a constitutional scholar, about January 6th and whether or not, or actually, what are the prospects that many of the charges against many of those who were prosecuted for January 6th related crimes will be overturned. That's at 7:37.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
7:31, 63 degrees. President Joe Biden has, for the first time, publicly apologized directly to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for a months-long congressional holdup in American military assistance. Now, Biden will speak from Pont de Hoc this week, marking the second trip to the Normandy coast during his visit to France, commemorating the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Federal prosecutors are wrapping up their gun case in Hunter Biden's federal gun trial. 2 more witnesses expected today. Prosecutors are planning to call a drug expert and an FBI chemist. Voters in Ireland and the Czech Republic are going to the polls on day 2 of elections for the European Parliament. A surge of conservative voters across the 27-nation bloc seems likely to emerge from the marathon voting. Paris Olympic organizers have unveiled a display of the 5 Olympic rings mounted on the Eiffel Tower as the French capital marks 50 days until the start of the Summer Games. Men's and women's volleyball, by the way, will compete at the foot of the 1,000-foot monument. They'll be watched by 13,000 fans at a temporary Eiffel Tower Stadium. Here in Chicago, an iron worker died after scaffolding collapsed at a Hyde Park hospital project. The incident happened at the construction site for the University of Chicago Cancer Pavilion near Maryland and 57th. A 25-year-old man from Oakland, California has been charged in a stabbing outside Union Station Wednesday afternoon. Wilson Barrino is charged with 1 count of first-degree attempted murder, 1 count of aggravated battery, and 1 count of aggravated battery using a deadly weapon. Chicago Police Department offered a first-hand look into how officers are training as they prepare for the Democrat National Convention in August. City is anticipating large demonstrations, and Superintendent Larry Snelling yesterday saying his officers are ready.
These officers are going to be dealing with a lot. They're going to be dealing with volatile situations. They're going to be asked to stand down in situations where the average human being would respond, probably violently.
All officers on the front lines will be wearing body cameras for accountability and their own protection. Chicago sports. White Sox lost to the Red Sox 14-2. That's 14 straight losses. Cubs win streak stopped in an 8-4 loss to Cincinnati. June minicamp over for the Bears. Optional OTAs continues next week. The news, a service of Windy City Safes. What are you doing to keep your most prized possessions safe? Windy City Safes is Chicagoland's only Liberty Safe dealer. With Liberty Safes, you're not just getting a safe, you're getting peace of mind. Visit the Niles showroom. Call 224-LOCKBOX or online at windycitysafes.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Windy City Safes in Niles wants to help you celebrate America this summer by giving away a Liberty personal home safe. Enter to win from now until the 4th of July at 560theanswer.com/safe. That's 560theanswer.com/safe. And make sure to stop by Windy City Safe's showroom at 7310 North Milwaukee Avenue in Niles and receive a free American flag to display in your home or business while supplies last.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I am 87 years old, and I am an RN, and my PhD work is in anatomy and physiology. I watched your advertisement on TV, and I thought I'll try it for just a month to see if it makes any difference. I have stayed on it. Just think it is a marvelous product.
Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
As a business owner, do you have a strategy for exiting your business? Most business owners don't. Studies done by the Exit Planning Institute show 75% of business owners who don't have an exit plan are dissatisfied with their exit, and 80% of businesses put to market never sell. Total Clarity Wealth Management understands the hesitation to discuss exiting. Will customers leave? Will competitors take advantage? Will key employees leave? That's why they offer confidential planning. Contact Anne-Marie at Total Clarity Wealth Management. Discover what the financial foundation should be to pursue an exit that is satisfying. At some point, you are going to leave your business. Will it be on your terms? Total Clarity can show you the way to financial readiness and keep you on track. Anne-Marie is a certified exit planning advisor. Visit TotalClarityBusiness.com. That's TotalClarityBusiness.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Total Clarity Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
7:38, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and this update a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. Fox Lake, report of a bad accident, US 12, just north of Big Hollow. And on the Reagan, very slow eastbound between Roosevelt and the Tri-State. Delays on the Dan Ryan as you roll northbound 35 as you begin your trip from 95th up to the Burns Circle interchange. Your lockdown 43rd up through the Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Mostly sunny with a gusty breeze and a high of 78. Clear and 60 overnight. 63 right now. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. This is a fun argument. Peter Reinhardt is a former chief prosecutor of New York City's juvenile court. He has an op-ed in the Journal tackling Alvin Bragg's prosecution of former President Trump. And since he invoked Thomas Dewey, he asks, would Thomas Dewey have prosecuted FDR the way that Alvin Bragg prosecuted Trump? Dewey's the example of the independent prosecutor that Bragg invoked. So Reinhardt asks, would DA Dewey have sought an indictment based on a similar fact pattern? His suggests not. When Dewey was district attorney, FDR was president. In 1921, Roosevelt had been stricken with polio, which left him partially paralyzed, needed a wheelchair, as we all now know. But concerned about public perception then, the White House made every effort to cover up the president's disability, going as far as using devices that made it appear that he was walking. White House officials suppressed press photographs of the president in his wheelchair, and the Secret Service confiscated and destroyed film when journalists snapped forbidden pictures. Roosevelt did all this to influence the outcome of the election. And Dewey ran against him in 1944, never sought an indictment. As far as we know, no such prosecution was ever contemplated because Tom Dewey was focused on men like mobsters Lucky Luciano and Dutch Schultz. But the 1930s aren't the present, and so Bragg has ushered in a new process for the evolving modern professional prosecutor's office. That standard declares that a minor impropriety designed to hide facts from the electorate is a felony. Perhaps Mr. Bragg thinks FDR got off easy. Oh, wonderfully argued, Counselor. For more on this and other legal/political matters, pleased to be joined by Paul Ingrassia, who's a constitutional scholar and a former Claremont Fellow. He's also a board member of the New York Young Republican Club. Paul Ingrassia, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me on this morning.
If you're welcome to comment on the Reinhardt's argument and the really parody almost in the Wall Street Journal, but the larger issue of Trump's legal options. Obviously, you've got a lot of constitutional lawyers and professors arguing back and forth about what the options are and what the likelihood is. But it seems that the net at present is that he is going to be sentenced on July 11th. Do you disagree?
Well, it seems like that is the current state of affairs here in New York City. Now, obviously, this is an evolving situation. Things may change. I was there at the courthouse last week, of course, when they announced the verdict and when they scheduled the sentencing date for July 11th at 10:30 a.m. So I will be there on the ground again, unless, things change between now and then. But, the Reinhardt, just going back to your earlier point about what Reinhardt said, you had in the 1940s under Roosevelt an incapacitated president, basically someone, especially during his last presidential election there in 1944, someone who was almost on, about to pass away. He was in real terminal shape, and of course they had to cover that up from the public at the time because we were still waging World War II. And then just kind of fast forward 80 years later, we have Joe Biden there at the scene in Normandy, commemorating, of course, D-Day and what the troops did there. And he basically had to be ushered off the stage because we see our current commander-in-chief in a similar state of incapacity. But or incapacitated. But yet again, this is not something that can be easily covered or hidden from the public, much as it was in the 1940s. I mean, it's quite apparent for the world to see that our current commander-in-chief lacks the intellectual and now it seems like even physical faculties to carry out the duties of his office. And that's in sharp contrast with President Trump, who, has been just incredible in terms of the stamina and going through this entire ordeal over the past.
Yeah, maybe maybe if they give Biden some sort of stimulant before the June 27th debate and that's not disclosed, that's a prosecutable offense now.
It could be. It could be. I mean, it seems like anything under the sun. Although, if your name is Donald Trump, of course, they'll custom tailor anything, the law, to befit the situation, because obviously the goal here, this is the example, the classic case of show me the man, I'll show you the crime. There was no crime. There was no underlying crime to be had here. This was a case that had been cleared previously by the FEC. I mean, they're alleging a federal election, an FEC violation here. Why is it appearing in state court? Why was this matter brought in state court in the first place? No one seems to know the answers to that question. The bottom line is there is no underlying crime. Alvin Bragg did not have the jurisdictional authority to prosecute President Trump here. Neither did Merchan, neither did ultimately Biden, who is basically the one calling the shots ultimately in this case. But, it's the real tragedy and travesty of this whole thing is, we're bringing our criminal justice system in New York State and New York City specifically to ruin. And regardless of, I think President Trump is going to benefit from this politically. He's raised hundreds of millions of dollars in the month of May alone, which was record-breaking. His poll numbers are better than ever. But the permanent mark on our justice system is one that's going to take a long time to rehabilitate and repair from this.
Yeah, well, the Democrats, they thought 2 times impeached president, that would work, didn't. Now they've convicted felon. In Arizona today, they're putting up 38-plus billboards that say Trump, convicted felon. That's not going to stick. And the black community is even embracing the verdict that came down. And so are a lot of people that were undecided. So I think this is, what's next then? Because this isn't going to stick, so what else can they do?
I know. Exactly. That's exactly right. His support among these, among the black community, among Hispanics is through the roof. And I think, just across every demographic group, it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. They see this as a sham show trial, as a kangaroo court, and they see us as a descent into sort of this banana republic territory. We've never been here as a country before. People who have family ties or who have themselves have memories of the former Soviet Union, the Eastern Bloc, they see what's going on to our justice system in America as being basically on point with what they're familiar with. And of course, those who came from socialist and communist countries to our south, whether it's Venezuela or communist Cuba, they see exactly what's going on in the United States as replicating that same playbook. So, I think President Trump, obviously will benefit politically from this. It's just a matter of, how the sentencing will go about, how it will proceed, and what ultimately happens regarding the weaponized system of justice. That's an open question. And obviously this is election interference of the highest order that is currently going on in the country. And that is the end goal of this, to keep him off the campaign trail, to keep him out of states like Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, and in Pennsylvania, where he's up in every single poll. You look across the board, he's doing amazingly well in the polls, in the RCP average of his poll numbers, which is better than he ever did in 2016 or 2020. And I think that is in part catalyzed by what we're seeing with these indictments against him.
Well, lost in all that's going on with Trump and to a lesser extent with Hunter Biden is an important Supreme Court decision. There's many to come this month before their term ends, but one of them is Fisher versus United States, and this is with respect to the federal statute under which so many individuals present at the Capitol on January 6th have been charged. This is Section 1512C2 that has been much discussed, that criminalizes efforts to corruptly obstruct, influence, or impede an official proceeding. And the federal government has used an expansive interpretation of that provision to snare a lot of people who weren't even inside the Capitol but were on the grounds as still being party to trying to impede an official proceeding back on January 6th. What is your take on the prospect that the SCOTUS will rule in favor of the plaintiff in the case, and the sort of impact that would have if it would be, I think, number in the hundreds of convictions that were overturned?
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's any hope of any of these cases, being overturned, and I'm talking, of course, about the Trump cases and the ongoing Bragg case, but especially this 1512 case that is appearing before the Supreme Court, which will have implications for all these other cases, because obviously, if these convictions are overturned, that will send shockwaves across the justice system. It will send a very strong precedent, and it'll also indicate how the Supreme Court might rule on future cases. So I'm optimistic about the Supreme Court here. Of course, this is a 6-3 Republican majority on the Supreme Court. 3 of the justices were appointed by President Trump himself. And obviously, I think this is an issue that the court sees as deeply concerning regarding the political prosecution of political dissidents to the Biden regime. So based on the arguments we're hearing and based on sort of the tenor of the court, and, they went after Justice Alito recently, the left, because it was, an image circulated online that he was flying, that his wife flew an upside down American flag right around January 2021. So, I think the court has received a lot of scrutiny from the left and a lot of attacks by the left, and I think they want to, not make this an issue for the 2024 presidential election. They don't want to keep this warfare going on. I think the court's goal is to sort of lessen the flames of these controversies, and I think they'll do that and by ruling in favor of the January 6th amendments here. I think that's a strong possibility.
Paul Ingrassia is a constitutional scholar, Claremont Fellow, and board member of the New York Republican Club. He is also writes at Substack, paulingrassia.substack.com. Paul, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer. The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Choosing where to send your kids to school is one of the most important decisions you make as parents. Even as the school year has come to an end, you might be thinking about where to send your kids to school in the fall. You need to know that private school might be an option for you and your family, thanks to our friends at halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you'll find many different private schools from around Chicagoland, offering a full year of tuition for half of the normal price. And you can take advantage of this great opportunity. It's simple. Find a private school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. HalfPriceSchools.com has schools across Chicagoland, including St. Andrew's Lutheran in Park Ridge, Ravenswood Christian in Chicago, Christian Liberty Academy in Arlington Heights, St. Peter Lutheran School in Schaumburg, and many more. So don't delay. Next school year will be here before you know it. Visit HalfPriceSchools.com today. Don't wait. Visit HalfPriceSchools.com today. That's HalfPriceSchools.com. Vans.com.
Conveyors keep your products moving, but when they break down, it can cost your company time and money. If you need help with conveyors, call a company that has the expertise and capability to help.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. I've got over 40 years of personal experience in dealing with conveyors and their related parts. At Vans, we install and maintain all types of conveyors, including screw conveyors, belt conveyors, drag conveyors, and bucket elevators. And if you need related conveyor chutes, drives, guards, or dust collection, we can design and install all of these components for your conveyor system.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics insured at the highest levels to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND to schedule your conveyor inspection today. That's 833-VANSIND. Visit them online at vansindustrial.com. That's VANSindustrial.com. Vans Industrial, working safe since 1964.
All right, I just did it. Did it a little early today. Took my Balance of Nature, cracked my 6 capsules open and poured them in warm water, and voila. Getting 10 servings of 31 different fruits and vegetables. You can smell the fruits and veggies in each capsule. I love it. And guess what? Your body, your heart, and your mind is going to love it too. Because you have to admit you're not getting enough fruits and veggies on your own when you have those burgers and brats and hot dogs. Where are the vegetables? Corn, 1 serving is just not going to cut it. You need more. So here's what you do. Call this number, 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago. First-timers get 35% off and free shipping. 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago. Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
You're in an auto accident. It's a big, unwelcome disruption in your life. To make it worse, the insurance company is being ridiculous. Injuries are involved. Damages are involved.
SettlementYouDeserve.com.
It's time.
SettlementYouDeserve.com.
Salvi Law. Michael and Samantha Salvi. It's a family law firm that will personally work hard for you to get you guessed it, the settlement you deserve. For auto accidents, you work on getting your life back and let Salvi Law get you the settlement you deserve. Experienced, trustworthy, and like a family friend that knows the law. Salvi Law gets you the settlement you deserve. Medical malpractice problem? Contact Salvi.
SettlementYouDeserve.com.
SettlementYouDeserve.com.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing presented by Signature Bank. And this year, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responders and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Wednesday, June 19th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing package, which includes 25 one-minute commercials between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and a free digital marketing analysis. And we also have twosomes available in addition to foursomes. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Control Point Engineering, Waukegan Roofing, and by Crosscom Public Adjusters.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Dreyfus, founder and president of Metropolis Coffee Company and a proud new customer of Signature Bank. We're a 19-year-old specialty coffee roaster located in the heart of Chicago. Some of your favorite restaurants and cafes serve our coffee. As a small business manufacturer, we understand the importance of working with the right bank, and that's why we made the move to Signature Bank. We were tired of the impersonal service that our large bank had provided. A friend referred us to Signature Bank, and their team was on site to understand our operations firsthand. They provided us the working capital to continue our successful business operations and to fuel our ambitions for innovation and growth. We now have the flexibility to grow at our own pace. That personal touch, you can't find that at a large bank, but we found it at Signature, and we can't thank them enough.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Brandon Tatum weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by Charlie Kirk at 7. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The May jobs numbers, and Wall Street is moving to Texas. 808 with Jim Perry.
I like that. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
President Joe Biden apologizes to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Fox News with the very latest on that story. Here in Chicago, an iron worker is dead after a scaffolding collapse at a Hyde Park construction site. And 5 Chicago police officers and a civilian hurt in a Southside crash. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
An unexpected surge in hiring. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's a report just out this morning.
Job growth was much stronger than expected in May. The number of new jobs created rose to 272,000. Economists were estimating fewer than 200,000. Though April job growth was revised lower, the unemployment rate rose to 4% in May.
Fox's Ginny Casola on Wall Street. Stock futures are falling at today's trading. Former President Trump railed against President Biden's handling the economy and inflation campaigning in Phoenix.
So interest rates went from 2.5% with me up to close to 10%, and you can't get money anyway. But we have a very sick country.
New Fox polls after the former president's conviction in New York give him 5-point leads over President Biden in Arizona and Nevada, a 4-point edge in Florida. They're tied in Virginia. The presidents in France just met with Ukraine's leader, telling Volodymyr Zelensky,
I continue to say, the United States is standing with you.
President Biden also apologized for a delay in Congress approving more U.S. military aid to help Ukraine fend off Russia's invasion.
President Biden was speaking so softly in this sit-down with Volodymyr Zelensky in Paris that the press pool in the room thought he said that this new $225 million is going to be for a new Ukrainian electrical grid. White House officials had to step in and say, no, it's actually just for normal munitions that could be used to defend an electrical grid.
Fox's Peter Ducey in Normandy, France, where next hour the president will deliver a speech touting democracy and freedom as his son Hunter Biden sits in court for day 5 of his federal trial in Wilmington, Delaware. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reports from outside the court.
We can expect 2 additional witnesses to be called this morning, a drug expert and an FBI chemist. And then the prosecution is expected to rest his case later this morning, and the defense will pick it up after lunch.
Hunter Biden is charged with illegally buying a gun in 2018 while an illegal drug user. America's listening to Fox News.
63 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. An iron worker is dead after a scaffolding collapse at a Hyde Park construction site. Chicago Fire says it happened at the site for the University of Chicago Cancer Pavilion on Maryland near 57th Street. Fire officials say 2 workers were on scaffolding for the elevator shaft construction when they believe high winds caused that scaffolding to collapse. 5 Chicago police officers and a civilian were hurt in a crash on the south side Thursday evening near 63rd and Racine when a unmarked squad car slammed into a marked squad car and a civilian vehicle was struck as well. 1 officer taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center in serious condition. A 25-year-old man from Oakland, California has been charged in a stabbing outside Union Station Wednesday afternoon. Wilson Barrero is charged with 1 count of first-degree attempted murder in the attack on 71-year-old Arlene Rado. Chicago Police Department is offering a first look into how officers are training as they prepare for the Democrat National Convention in August. Superintendent Larry Snelling says his frontline officers are ready.
Going to be dealing with a lot. They're going to be dealing with volatile situations. They're going to be asked to stand down in situations where the average human being would respond, probably violently.
Police are also promising to protect neighborhoods across the city and Michigan Avenue. A former Fenton High School student is suing the school district, saying it failed to protect her from sexual assault. In a lawsuit, the woman accuses the Fenton board of continuing to employ a teacher, even promoting him after his behavior had been reported to the Bensonville school. White Sox lost to the Red Sox 14-2. That's 14 losses in a row. And the Cubs lost to the Reds 8-4. The News is a service of Windy City Safes. Windy City Safes is Chicagoland's only Liberty Safe dealer. Visit the Nile showroom, call 224-LOCKBOX, or online at windycitysafes.com. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
NVIDIA shares are up more than 1% this morning after its stock closed at a record yesterday, and it became the second most valuable company behind only Microsoft. Chinese electric vehicle maker NIO lost money in its recent quarter, a larger loss than a year ago. NIO is blaming lower vehicle sales, weaker average selling prices, and seasonal effects, though it is predicting deliveries will more than double in coming months. The Teamsters Union has formally affiliated with the Amazon Labor Union, which represents roughly 8,000 warehouse workers at a facility in Staten Island. There's another sign that Americans are cutting back on buying furniture. Hooker Furnishings lost money in its recent quarter. Higher interest rates have made furniture more expensive. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda, invested in you.
Brandon Tatum isn't sure Biden's message hit home.
Today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line to vote in an election. What in the hell is that all about?
So, black people, it's like you think we live in huts in the middle of a desert somewhere.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
The headlines remind us daily, the world is a dangerous place. The elites in charge say everything's fine, stop noticing. But you know better. And your gut knows that time is short to prepare for a world that is 4 missed meals away from chaos. My Patriot Supply has helped over 3 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contain delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Secure at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200, plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. My Patriot Supply also has solar power generators, water filtration units, biomass stoves, heirloom seeds, and critical survival gear. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
A lot of times people don't understand what a supplement is. A supplement is in addition to your regular foods. It's really just an incredible formula, and I've been doing nutrients for 43 years. It has a tremendous effect on how I feel, my well-being. I love the way it gives me all my supplements for fruits and vegetables, which I take a lot of anyway. But I find that this gives me that supplement that I was missing before.
Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Hey, did you know that one of the largest U.S. flags in the state of Georgia stands proudly in Pure Talk's parking lot? Now, to honor that flag, Pure Talk is supporting America's Warrior Partnership. Now, they have a mission to prevent veteran suicide. Now, you can help this great cause simply by making the switch to Pure Talk before Flag Day. Get America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. Just dial pound 250. Say the keyword SAVE NOW for superior cell phone service, half the price of Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and you get to help a vet in need.
8:09. Check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Well, it's a getaway Friday. Lots of folks heading out on 8094 east and westbound, especially between Burr and Kennedy Avenue this morning. Route 53 northbound between Gulf and the Jane Addams Toll Road. I-90, big delays. The Adams has slow traffic on the ramp to southbound 53 as well. DuSable Lakeshore Drive roadwork zone problems southbound between Irving Park and Belmont. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Ruth O'Brien.
For today, mostly sunny with a gusty breeze, high 78, mainly clear tonight, low 60. Breezy to kick off the weekend tomorrow, sunshine and patchy clouds with an afternoon thunderstorm, high 75. Passing evening shower tomorrow night as well. I'm Ruth O'Brien on AM 560 The Answer.
Next news 8:30, Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. By the way, those people heading out of town in 8094 that Mike Scott were talking about, they are not coming back. Oh. They're just leaving. We have this housing affordability problem in the United States and in Canada, too. Pierre Poilievre, who is hopefully going to replace that gender-neutral grade school drama teacher they made their prime minister.
Yeah. Justin Trudeau. He's living the single life now, Dan.
Poilievre had a great response to the question of Trudeau's affordable housing gambit, and of course it's government-centric in orientation. The government's going to build these houses, or they're going to marshal the process for construction and price setting and so on and so forth. And that, to no one's surprise, is woefully underperforming, as central planning always does. Poilievre has an alternative approach if he were to win the day up in the Great White North.
It's a mathematical fact. He's not delivering. It's a mathematical fact that 9 years ago when I was housing minister, the average rent for a one-bedroom was $973. Now it's $2,000.
Oh, boy.
Right? These are the facts. So has he spent a lot of money on housing programs? Yes. He spent $89 billion on housing affordability, and the result is that housing costs have doubled. The problem is he's putting the money into bureaucracy. Government bureaucrats don't build homes. Private sector builders do. Government bureaucrats are in the way. So we need to get the government bureaucracy out of the way and deliver fast, affordable permits to build the homes. 1/3 of the cost of every newly built home in Ontario is government permits and taxes. 1/3. That's more than we spend on the labor to build the home.
Wow.
So we're spending more on the bureaucrats who don't build anything than we do on the carpenters, framers, plumbers, and electricians who build. Isn't that insane?
Yes.
Like when you buy a house, do you not find it incredible? You have this beautiful house, and you say, well, where did the money, I'm buying the house for, now say it's $1 million. What does the $1 million go to? You break it down, lumber, materials. You think more money goes to people sitting in government offices than goes to the people swinging the hammers, fitting the pipes, framing the lumber. It doesn't make sense. We need to cut the bureaucracy, and that's why my common sense plan will require cities free up land, speed up permits, cut development charges and fees as a condition of getting federal funds. If they don't hit my targets, they won't get their money. and there'll be less of those bureaucrats in those corner offices. So if they beat the target, they'll get more money. We're going to pay our municipalities the way we pay realtors and builders for the number of homes. Thank you.
That's how you make an argument. That's how you make a policy argument. Pierre Poilievre has the opportunity, if the Canadian electorate can see fit, to be North America's Javier Milei, as far as I can tell from this guy. Very impressive. That's the way you do it. And since we have the same problem, is that how we're doing it? Yeah, look at Chicago, where BLM Brandon's big idea is to turn the financial district into a housing project. For more on all this, Jim Perry joins us, founder, CIO, Perry International Capital Partners. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning.
So, what do you think of Pierre Poilievre's prescription for the housing price issue for middle income families in North America? And yeah, is that what we're hearing from politicians at sort of the state and city level where housing prices are most pronounced?
Well, first of all, I think what he's saying is correct. I mean, the biggest problem with economies anywhere is that when government takes a bigger portion of it, you've got less and less productive growth coming out of those economies. So if you want the economy in any area, whether it's Ontario or St. Louis, let the free market work, right? Reduce regulation, reduce interference on delays and things, and let the economy work. Let supply and demand work. And I think that he's right, and I hope he wins.
I wanted to get well, I guess we'll talk. I mean, even I feel like we're required to talk about the jobs number every month, even though it's a number that has virtually lost all its meaning. But 272,000 jobs in May. So what?
Yeah, I mean, you and I have talked about this before. The revisions to these numbers are usually larger than the headline figures going back, and they revise them, 2 and 3 times. So it's a snapshot, Dan, of what the economy is doing. And I suppose that, everybody gets excited about it the first Friday of the month because, number one, it's the first data for May, right? So it gives you kind of a signal about the latest government report of how the economy is doing. It's a signal, and the market's really looking for a signal of whether or not the labor market is weakening because, as you know, rate hikes, which happened and started a couple of years ago, the Fed was thinking that the unemployment rate by now would be something like 5%, right? And it's not. It's 4%. And it's been under, I was looking at it this morning, the last time the unemployment rate in this country was 4.1% was sort of November of 2021. So we've been at 4% or lower for, 29 months. And that tells me quite simply that the economy is still doing pretty well. I mean, it's not universally doing well. There's different pockets. It's definitely different in South Beach than it is in St. Louis, but the fact is, on an aggregate basis, the employment situation is pretty good. 272,000 jobs, and again, probably revised down next month. But Morgan Stanley had come out, I guess, the other day that said, the number of jobs that you create a month to keep the unemployment rate steady at 4% is 250,000 jobs, and that's where we are. So I think the economy is still growing slowly, and the issue at hand, obviously, the number one issue for everybody listening to this show and to the voters and homeowners in this country is inflation, and that's still a problem.
Well, did you see the new News Nation Decision Desk headquarters survey they released that said 58% of registered voters are living paycheck to paycheck?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been the case for a while. And I know it's alarming and it kind of concerns people, but I always say, Amy, averages hide more than they reveal, and the 58% of the people that they're talking about are the 58% of the people that really are living off of minimum wage, so or government support. So it's not surprising that number's kind of been there for a while. Yet, somehow consumer demand in this country is still rising, right? So we have to kind of balance all of these things.
And you also had NFIB, their economist came out with their report, their monthly report, which is probably more interesting than the Labor Department's. 37% reported raising compensation for their employees. So these are the small businesses around the country. These are the real engines of job creation. That's historically pretty high, and another 1 in 5 plans to raise compensation for their employees in the next 3 months. Obviously it's a tight labor market. They want to keep their employees. It probably also signals that they're hopeful that inflation will recede at least a bit. People are, I guess, muddling along at a higher plateau than others.
Yeah, I think that's right, Dan. I mean, small businesses are in the crosshairs of government regulation and government fiscal spending, right? Households and small businesses are really suffering from higher costs. And a big part of the service sector of the economy, which is, almost 3/4 of output in this country, is wages, right? And wages are rising. And the reason for that, if you look at this this non-farm payroll number today, the biggest problem is that there's probably something like 1.5 million or 2 million fewer jobs today in the economy than there were pre-pandemic, right? So the labor market is still imbalanced, and inflation is rising faster than essentially home incomes, right? Disposable incomes are falling because inflation is rising so high, and insurance and taxes are rising high too. So the small businesses and households are falling further and further behind. And to Amy's point, the people that are living paycheck to paycheck, that number is not going to get any better anytime soon, right? You're talking about 58% of the population. These are real numbers, right? So there's a reason why when you look at these national surveys that, optimism really isn't going up, it's going down.
What's this move of Wall Street from New York to Texas? Citadel and BlackRock taking their balls and moving to Austin?
I think it's interesting. I've seen the story. I know who's behind it, and we all know the reason why, right? I mean, New York City, the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, their costs of doing business are going up too, right? And they have to pass those price increases to someone else. So if the financial services industry, which is, the biggest industry in the country here really right now, along with tech, if Citadel and some of these larger organizations that are taking larger and larger portions of the brokerage business on their platforms, if they can move to a low tax, low regulation state, that means their profit margins go up. So I'm not so sure it happens anytime soon, and I think there's a lot to it. But the fact is that it's a signal in that business, like many others, is that businesses and households are struggling under higher costs of doing business. And if you move from New York to Texas, you're doing okay.
And it's not just that; it's also, and I think this is a political arbitrage play, but it's also sending a signal to some of the Marxists, some of the anti-capitalist capitalists at NASDAQ who want to impose ESG in order to be listed on the exchange and so forth, right? I mean, this is basically a shot across the bow. Knock it off. We'll take your exchange away from you by setting up a new one in Texas.
Yeah, that's right. It's a shot across the bow, and the ESG and the carbon thing and the sort of inclusive sort of thing. It's a regulation, right? So if you can get away from those regulations, your cost of doing business goes down. It's pretty simple.
All right, so give us, I always like to get up, since you're an expert and a professional in the space, I always like to get you, and you're so forthcoming, I'd like to get your sort of portfolio balance.
Right.
Because a lot of people say, well, you can't fight City Hall sort of with respect to the manipulation of the market to go ever higher, and so at least through the end of this year, as long as things appear to be stable, at least on the surface, we should see equities provide a continued return, if for no other reason than NVIDIA.
Yeah, correct, Dan. I mean, I always put my portfolio on the front page of the weekly strategy report because if you know what I own, you know what I think, right? It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
The fact is, portfolios should be defensive because the reasons we're here are not sustainable, right? I mean, the NASDAQ, just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on here, the October lows, the NASDAQ's up 36% in sort of 6 months. NVIDIA's up 200, right? So the stock market is highly concentrated, and much of the returns in the NASDAQ. I think the NVIDIA is responsible for. There's an index, the top 100 NASDAQ companies. NVIDIA is responsible for something like 35 or 40% of the return of that index, and that's very dangerous. It's the market's extremely concentrated. I also saw the other day that in that sort of 100 top NASDAQ companies, even in this rally, 60% of them are up, which is great, and that's kind of been broadening out the last kind of couple of weeks here. But 40% of them are losing money, right? So even in the NASDAQ 100, the concentration is ridiculously narrow. And I think if you look at this is a little bit nerdy, but there's a market cap weighted index of stocks in the NASDAQ, and then equal weighted one. And the large cap stocks, the market cap stocks, are up something like 13.5%. And the equal weighted index, these are the same stocks, right? That's only up 3%. So this is unusual, and it's dangerous because you're looking at kind of a 3 standard deviation event here. It just doesn't stay this way forever. Now, having said that, back to your question, really, the stock market is probably going to be just fine between now and the election, because if we get a down trade like we had in April, 5%, 6%, and it's June or July or August, right before the Democratic convention, August in Chicago, you'll probably get more fiscal stimulus. So that's what the market's betting on. I had a meeting with a hedge fund neighbor of mine yesterday, and these guys are very quantity and process oriented, And I said, why do you think the stock market is here, and why do you think it's going to stay here through the election? And he said, well, it's simple. Hedge fund thinking is, what are the odds of a rate hike between now and the election? And I said, well,
Zero.
Right. Right. So it's zero. So he goes, hedge funds take tail risk away. So if rate hikes between now and November are zero, the odds are zero, then who cares whether people think the Fed's going to cut or stay here? The fact is money is going to stay cheap, and it is cheap, right? I mean, 5.5% on the Fed funds rate. If you go back to, post World War II, since, 80 years ago, since D-Day, right? The average yield in this country on borrowing money at the federal level has been, 6.5 or 7%. It's 5.5. And you get this narrative every single day from Wall Street and the government that, the Fed has raised rates at a higher rate than ever recorded in history. And I kind of go, well, yeah, but they were at zero for 7 out of the last 14 years. I mean, rates are still low. And the Fed doesn't really understand that. The government doesn't want to address that. And Wall Street doesn't care because government likes inflation, Wall Street likes inflation, and really money remains cheap for the broad, large economy. And that's why it's still expanding. And the big trouble is that's why it's still inflating. That's the biggest problem. Prices continue to rise because of fiscal stimulus.
Jim Perry, founder, CIO of Perry International Capital Partners. James, thanks as always. Always informative. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Have a good weekend. Amy, thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson here. You know when you're at the mall and you go to those directory signs, the one that says you are here? Well, imagine that directory is a map of your preparation for retirement. Would you know where you are? My friend Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group is offering you the opportunity to not only find yourself on that map, but also find the route toward a successful retirement. He calls it his retirement roadmap. You'll get an analysis of where you are right now, whether you're at risk if the market drops again, whether you're taking advantage of the latest tax changes, and much, much more. To get an idea where you stand on the road to retirement, call my friend Tom Fortino at the Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-934-1855. That's 630-934-1855. And ask for the retirement roadmap or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And don't forget to listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560, The Answer at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
AM 560, The Answer.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call it now! Open mic Friday!
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Yes, it's that time of the week. Open Mic Friday, taking your calls. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line with comments, compliments, concerns, criticisms, general crack pottery. We'll take it all. And we start, as we always do, with Open Mic Friday sponsor and turnkey.pro founder, David Kolsak. David.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. How are you guys today?
Good.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, so this week we got to see Dr. Fauci again in front of Congress after they issued another mean letter demanding his presence so they could grill him. It's really hard to watch any of it. I think I made it through like 3 minutes of the clips that were circulated on social media. He was cagey, unapologetic, and pompous. I mean, this guy was the front man for the entire COVID empire. We all remember him from 2020 with the death counters on CNN, the masks, the lockdowns, the 6 feet apart, the whole 9 yards. It was interesting to see all these blowhard politicians on both sides looking to score points in the court of public opinion. But for me, anything short of a firing squad or the gallows would have fallen short. So I didn't watch much. However, I did some digging. There's a guy out there who goes by the name of Clandestine on X and BioClandestine on Telegram. He's been very good at his research surrounding COVID and its origins, and he believes that it's the Ukraine rather than China. He was very bold in his reporting about those origins, and he lost a ton of friends along the way. It really doesn't matter because regardless of the origin, they used phony PCR tests to whip up so much fear. It was palpable. It was all about fear, and that little rat of a man was really good at playing his part to stoke that fear. So Clandestine had a very interesting post this week, and I'm going to read it to you. If you really want to go down a rabbit hole, I'm about to blow your mind. Flashback to 2011, the movie Contagion. The blockbuster movie with star-studded Hollywood cast about a global pandemic stemming from a virus from a wet market in China. Nathan Wolfe, Biota founder and lead virologist, was the lead biological consultant for the movie to help direct the producers on how the health community would realistically respond to a hypothetical pandemic. Nathan Wolfe is also monetarily affiliated with Ghislaine, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Maxwell, and the Clinton Foundation via the Terramar project, that's the underwater deal, and the Bidens via the Rosemont Seneca funding his biolab with multiple biolabs in Ukraine at a Biota. Is it a coincidence that the same people who warned about a global pandemic coming also happen to be the ones modifying pathogens? The same guy who was looking for bat coronaviruses in Ukraine is also closely affiliated with Epstein, Clinton, Biden, and the Rothschilds. He also predicted the COVID pandemic in his book in 2008, exactly where it would come from and how the government would respond to it over a decade before it happened. Fauci did not make up social distancing. It was always the plan. Nathan Wolfe is at the epicenter of this entire thing. Fauci's just a front man. He goes on to say in a different post, the reason Fauci made up the 6-foot distancing, social distancing and mask wearing was to make citizens fear being close to one another. They needed the public to fear voting in person. This opened the door to justify implementing mass mail-in voting, which the deep state then used to harvest millions of usable ballots to then drop off at contested swing states in the middle of the night to ensure Trump did not win. This is ultimately what Fauci and the Dems are hiding. COVID was a significant cog in the coup to overthrow Trump. Then a guy named Elon Musk chimes in and he says, I don't think the intent was that diabolical, but nonetheless, it had the effect of driving mail-in ballot acceptance. Essentially, Elon is not ready to conclude that this was intentional, but he admits that the government capitalized on the event to push mail-in voting. Now, flashback to 2020 in March, in the thick of COVID response, Hillary Clinton tweeted back then, Congress needs to act to make voting by mail the norm going forward, with the specifics outlined by election expert Mark Elias below to make it accessible for all. Just a reminder that Mark Elias is a slick Democrat Party elections lawyer who defended the 2020 election debacle. So after that smug, disgusting performance by Fauci, the grandstanding on the Hill to get sound bites in the 15 minutes of fame, all you have to know is that they're all in on it. It's just a big show, and it was all planned. They have to tell you before they do things. That's part of the elite's code. So they wanted to warn us. That's the Contagion movie was just that. Once again, Congress is doing a show trial and looking in the wrong direction. Do some research yourself and find out about this guy named Nathan Wolf. That's Wolf with an E at the end of Wolf. The truth is dripping out, and I know that people want justice. It's just as clear as the ones in charge don't want justice. They've planned it. They've been in on it and almost got away with it completely. They came close, but instead they've awakened a people who are keen to their lies. As the saying goes, Fauci lied and people died. Lots of people died, alone, scared, and hopeless. Shame on him and the medical industrial complex, Big Pharma, and the government. Try this again, and there'll be a completely different result. We will not comply.
Okay. Thank you, David. Speaking of Mark Elias, so Mark Elias represents Jelly Belly Pritzker, and he was the lawyer his firm is the lawyer in the case. They filed this frivolous complaint against me at the State Board of Elections. And it was breathlessly reported, and
you showed up late. Oh my God!
Yeah, the hearing from a couple of weeks back and so forth, and this accusation, that accusation. Well, even essentially, it's his agency. It's the State Board of Elections. Oh, people on Twitter, you're gonna go to jail, and so that State Board of Elections. I mean, the ignorance is just so profound. It's an administrative body. That relates to an accusation of illegal coordination between my independent expenditure PAC from 2022 governor race with Darren Bailey, the candidate, of course, I supported against Jelly Belly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we have a recommendation from the hearing officer that's now in. So this hasn't been made public yet, but I'm happy to, because why not? Why hide anything? And then this will go to the board and they'll vote on it or whatever the hell they do. He finds there was no coordination between the parties on the ads and recommends that the complaint be dismissed for lack of evidence. He goes through all the evidence and concludes that it is, in fact, proof of non-coordination rather than proof of coordination.
Wow.
He also recommends that the State Board of Elections take action and adopt regulations regarding the coordination standard. Yeah, so understand this. I've said this before. It's sort of the very low-level lawfare. Obviously, nothing akin to what's going on at the federal level, whether it's J6 or whether it's Trump. But it's illustrative of the approach and the mentality, and it's the same personnel: Pritzker, Mark Elias. There is no standard for coordination because the State Board of Elections never got around to promulgating actual standards. But that's okay. They still green-lighted this frivolous complaint that the state Democratic Party, Jelly Belly, filed against me because, why not waste people's time and waste people's money on the other side? So that's what they did. You have to go through this whole process. It's back and forth. I mean, it is a legal proceeding, even though it's administrative. It's not even civil, really. And it's all predicated on sort of an ex post facto regime. We're going to take up this case to figure out what the standards should be. No, you greenlight a complaint once you have standards by which you could hold a party accountable if they were violative of the standards. They don't even understand or care about sort of constitutional norms. This is at the low level. Think about what they'll do to somebody who's actually a threat to them. It's remarkable. And, it's just the whole thing, the proof of non-coordination as opposed to proof of coordination. But and this is, again, there's no critical eye directed toward Mark Elias, essentially the guy who cooked up the Steele dossier in conjunction with the Clinton campaign and so forth. And he just continues on, and people are taking him seriously. And this is supposed to be some officer of the court who demands respect and whose firm demands respect from from any other officers of the court in a legal proceeding. This is where it's at, up and down the food chain. So we'll see what the State Board of Elections does, but I just thought I'd share that. And I'm sure that drunk at the Tribune, Rick Pearson, and the anti-business reporters at Cranes will breathlessly report this too, which, complete after all of their hyperventilating in my direction over the last year and a half that this stupid, frivolous complaint was being effectively litigated at the administrative level. So just an FYI there. Anything you want to get to?
Thank you. Yes. I'm sure a lot of you watched the 80th anniversary of the D-Day celebration where, men who stormed the beaches in 1944 look better than our current president. Some of you thought he might have relieved himself in a diaper he was wearing when he was, fumbling to decide whether or not to sit down. But I got to tell you, we're not talking about the men and women who sacrificed. Instead, we're talking about the inability of him to rise to the level of president. And every day he looks more lost and confused in public. And one man said it best. He's a 100-year-old Marine who, this is not what those boys died for. He was brought to tears.
And people don't realize what they have. They bitch about it. They do. And then nowadays, I am so upset that the things we did and the things we fought for and the boys that died for it, it's all gone down the drain. Our country's gone to hell in a handbasket. We haven't got the country we had when I was raised. Not at all. Nobody will have the fun I had. Nobody will have the opportunity I had. It's just not the same. That's not what our boys, that's not what they died for. It's just not it.
Well, maybe some people will take notice of that and consider being a little bit more courageous in the face of those who would destroy all the things that he and his brothers in arms fought for and many died for. Maybe.
Not a good look for America yesterday, and then he had to be ushered out by Jill. I mean, every day, Dan, I don't think he's going to make it to the debate.
Whatever.
Well,
who knows? Eduardo, Tampa Bay.
Him making decisions about our country.
Yeah, well, what you were talking about, that's only half of it. Tom Hanks and Christian Amanpour talking like they were at a bar, laughing it off, inserting Ukraine into the conversation. I was watching the local Fox Tampa Bay here, and they were talking about a story of a guy who got a high school diploma after going to war, being married, having grandkids. So that is such a better story than what we're having nowadays. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call, Eduardo. Bob, Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Another good week of informing, educating your listeners on the news of the day. Thanks for playing the Leslie Stahl and Trump interview yesterday, where the laptop was referenced. I had forgotten about the interchange between Trump and Stahl. Now, counting down in less than 3 weeks till the debate, I'm wondering if Trump might get into it similarly with an exchange with moderator Jake Tapper, who we all know has no love for Trump. And then will Trump confront Biden on the laptop? You guys have a good week, and listen to you next week.
Thanks, Bob. I got some pretty good, I wouldn't say advice, but a pretty good representation of maybe an approach Trump should take at the debate as opposed to when it comes to this convicted felon business.
Yeah, what?
Tyler Fisher, he's a comedian,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got a pretty good riff, very funny riff, on leaning into the 34 felony convictions.
Found guilty of 34 felonies, right? Don't, he'll twist it, man. He'll make it fun. He'll make it cool. It's fine. 34 counts. Nobody's done it. Nobody can do that. Nobody can do it. 34. It's never been done. Our numbers are so big. These are big numbers. 34. El Chapo couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. 22 times. What a failure. Guilty on 22 counts. I said, what an amateur. 34, no, we're doing better. Al Capone couldn't do it. 27 counts, which is really beginner stuff. That's beginner stuff. He couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. The Zodiac Killer, can you believe this? 9 counts. I go, this is it. What is this, amateur hour? 9 counts. The Zodiac, I call him the Zodiac Loser. That's what I call him. That's what I call him. We are going to jail, and we are going to jail so quick and so strong, and nobody's going this quick. 2 days, we'll be there in 2 days. We're making felonies great again. That's what we're doing. I'll be out in the yard, right? The jail yard. Catch me outside. I'll be out in the yard. Shackles. These are going to be great shackles. Golden. We're going to get the golden shackles. They say Trump's yard right there. Trump's yard.
It's pretty good. I mean,
really good.
Ridicule it, right? Lean into it, ridicule it for the farce that it is.
And I got to tell you, did you hear the latest MAGA rap? Trump's got 3 baby mamas, a mugshot, and 34 felonies. Bro really is the first black president. Do you want to hear just a little bit of it? It's pretty good. If I can find it here. Here we go.
You know blacks voting Trump, I heard Biden's gonna fire us. But that's okay, cause Donald Trump's about to hire us. I pay the IRS, they send my bread to Ukraine. They killing babies, getting abortions, that's the new wave. 100 bands up on my chain, baby, I'm a rich slave. You voting Democrat, just know that come with 3K. The glove don't fit, they must have quit. OJ in this diss, a message to Alvin Bragg. Uncle Trump is innocent. I was just in the Bronx, I seen it with my own eyes. It's a red wave, baby, I'm a patriot for life. Robert De Niro, ooh boy, we laughing at you. Let me guess, Donald Trump raped you too? Trump just ain't running against Biden. I blame the fake news, baby, they divide us. ABC, NBC, CNN too. I blame Obama and Bush, the Clinton family too.
What do you think? You like it?
It's not bad, but I like the idea that these events are spawning artistic offerings, because I think it's a way that people can communicate about it in a fun way, in a way that may engage those who otherwise wouldn't engage. So that sort of stuff has real cultural power. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty good. It's pretty cool. I like it. More of it. John and Niles, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Great show as usual. It was like the American Bandstand there with the record.
Yeah, you could dance to it.
Yeah, right. I'm calling out the local media, which is, you could do it every day, but this morning was a doozy. The WGN, they did a story. Superintendent shoved at a graduation ceremony on the stage. And they went on, I thought, okay, what's going to happen here? And they just went on, hardly any video of it. And then the story ends, and Lauren Jiggets goes, the superintendent was black. So this week you've had those people that got jumped in Streeterville. The lady had a miscarriage. That's been covered lightly on the news. No descriptions. And then there was a Chinese gentleman that got jumped, I believe down by the Marianos downtown near Greektown. Mm-hmm. They had him on. He was a veteran of Iraq. And the Chinese, they were calling out who did it, talking ghetto talk to him, blah, blah, blah. And police are looking for 3 youths. Yeah. If you have any information, please call. No, you have the information. But this is daily, and I don't know what their motive is. So, thank you.
Thanks for the call. Well, it's pretty clear what their motive is. Part of the identitarian political revolution. Tom, Blue Island.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. I wanted to send a blessing to Lauren Handy, 78-year-old woman who was sentenced to 2 years in jail by Judge Colleen. I think her name's Kalali, Collar Kalali or something, appointed by Clinton in 1984, sent a 78-year-old woman to jail as violation of the FACE Act, parading in front of an abortion clinic. The judge, Daniel, I think you'll get a kick out of this, graduate Bachelor of the Arts, and her GED from the Catholic University of America.
Yeah, of course.
Great world we're living in.
Thanks, Tom. The Prime Minister, Ogden Dunes, Indiana.
Oh, Dan and Amy, you know, I'm so depressed. One man is facing a sentence and the other can barely complete one. And, you know, I said before the Trump conviction that Biden was polling lower than a stripper with vertigo. But now Trump is so shockingly high in the minority polls, the word on the street, orange is the new black. But Dan, could I say a moment to salute Amy, the birthday girl?
Birthday girl. No. Oh,
Birthday girl in November.
in November.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I completely, you know, JB Lizzo's people have all their information bad. He says your sassy radio show has a small and deeply disturbed following. But I speak for all the Randy Paul men listening to the show when I say, Amy, we're bewitched, bothered, and bewildered by you. Sweet 16 times 3 plus 2. Every morning, a hot, steaming cup of Amy J. You're so tight-lipped and tongue-tied with that personality you could bounce a quarter off of. Amy, your drive-time body makes men drive up on sidewalks. And Dan, did you know this past week, Amy became an antidote. She became a cure. That deep state Anthony Fauci, after testifying this past week, he came down with a bad case of the ED. So they showed him a picture of our long, tall voluptuary, all blonde hair and University of Iowa bedroom eyes. Anthony took one look at your picture, Amy. Talk about a gain of function.
All right, PM. Very good.
Next week he's going to talk about your hot abs, Dan. So there you go.
Speaking of that, of sorts, have you seen this story?
Don't do it.
Let me guess. Try and guess who said this.
Okay.
My penis exists in my head. I swear to God, I'm a male.
Caitlyn Jenner?
I would have guessed J.B. Pritzker, actually. But I mean,
Lizzo.
It's a serious note, but I mean, doesn't mean you can't have fun with
that?
it.
I don't know. Local politician?
The Covenant School killer. The Tennessee Star obtained 4 dozen pages of her writings. Wait, no, it was a her that was wanted to be a he.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Confirmed 4 dozen pages of her writings. A diary post begins with the title "My Imaginary Penis," which is also the working title of Jelly Belly's autobiography. It includes a crude drawing with the words, "My penis exists in my head. I swear to God, I'm male." She described being raised as a girl as torture. She claimed she feared being called a pejorative for a lesbian during high school before eventually learning about transgenderism. I finally found the answer that changing one's gender is possible. She had bad things to say about her parents. I hate parental views, how my mom sees me as a daughter, and she not bear to want to lose that daughter because a son would be the death of Audrey, her name. Audrey Hale revealed that she fantasized about experiencing intercourse as a man by creating scenes with her stuffed animals. God, I'm such a pervert.
God.
I waste too much time in my fantasies. That's a statement she wrote 2 weeks before she attacked Covenant School and
killed 4 people.
Killed 6 people.
Or 6 people, I'm sorry.
3 9-year-old students and 3 adults. So, again, you want to just indulge. I know that people will take that and they'll say, see, if you would just indulge them. If you just go wherever they want to take you. If they want puberty blockers, if they want to mutilate themselves, you just have to let the children lead the way. Wrong. She obviously was struggling and she needed help. If help was even possible, it's hard to say. But it certainly should have risen to the attention of some of the adults in her life, or frankly, the young people in her life as well. And I'm not blaming anybody, and sometimes it doesn't, but I think from what we know, and this is why I'd like to see the entirety of the diary at some point, that there were some indications of a desire to commit violent acts.
Yeah.
And so it goes. Red in Elmwood Park.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good
Red.
morning.
Go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, my fear is the news media. They don't see, they don't ask the right questions, and they're playing along. They will be the first to be purged. You hear that word, purge? They'll be purged, the leftists, if they take over.
Well,
I don't understand. They're so dumb.
They are dumb. Thanks for the call, Red. There's a lot of people who don't understand that they'll be cannibalized. So you either go along with things you never thought you would be in a position of doing, or you get cannibalized. That's how it goes at a certain point. There's no question. Rich in Indian Head Park.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. In my opinion, the only flag that should be displayed in front of government buildings, inside or out, should be the American flag. And maybe the state flag should be flown, flown also, along with maybe in the cities a state flag. But as far as this pride flag, like Amy said, this flag is only to show what a person's sexuality is. And the other flag is the Black Lives Matter flag. All that's telling people is that in Black Lives Matter, when it should be saying that all lives matter.
Yeah.
So Dan, I agree with you. This is a movement. They want to get as many people to agree with their what their thoughts are. So at some point in the future, they could have a group that would maybe stick together on voting and maybe changing some kind of policies in the country. And there's just one other thing I'd like to make a comment on. This Scaramucci, when you talked to him the other day, he said it's nothing personal against Trump. All I have to say to him is, who's he crapping? Thanks, and you guys have a good weekend.
Thanks for the call, Rich. Yeah, the rainbow flag, the Black Lives Matter flag, those are all separatist flags. Separatist movement. That's what identitarianism is, and those flags are some of their symbols. So tell that to the those that wearing the rainbow battle gear in your social circle. Oh, you're an American separatist. You want us to devolve into tribes based on identity. You want to undermine a peaceful, pluralistic society. You're a separatist. That's what you actually are. You're not an advocate. You're not for somebody's rights. You're a separatist. You're a segregationist is what you are. Mary in Florida.
Hey, Dan, just a quick question. You're always telling us to speak up, and we Republicans don't say anything. Just curious why, when you were playing golf at, Lake Forest, someplace?
River Forest.
And a woman walked by and said, great day for Trump, or great day for America when Trump's verdict was read. You weren't tempted to say anything back?
Well, as I related, I didn't quite hear what she said. I thought I did. Then I asked my friend what she said, who was a member, and he repeated what she said. And I didn't think it was appropriate as a guest at a country club to chase her out into the porch and excoriate her with her husband present.
I'm not saying that.
So, well, no, but that was the context of what happened. So it wasn't like she said it to me, or she said it at a table near me and they're sitting down and holding court. It was sort of in passing as she's walking out the door. I didn't hear it. He told me what she said. We talked about it, and that was that. But I'm happy to confront people. I'm not afraid to.
Yeah, so am I.
Good.
I'm trying, 'cause
Good.
I think we need to.
Absolutely.
I do.
Thanks for the call, Mary. I did want to mention a couple of other things. Miss Alabama.
Yeah.
What about Miss Alabama?
Well,
Newly,
she's
newly
a
minted
plus
Miss
size. She's a plus size pageant winner. That's how she, describes herself, and she's.
That's how she describes herself.
Dan, she's as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside.
Mm-hmm. I look forward to her competing in the Miss America pageant, maybe perhaps winning.
This is her third attempt, and this time she won. I don't know what she did for her talent portion of the pageant. I was trying to figure out, and it's not on here.
Mm-hmm.
But she's being cyberbullied now.
Maybe
she wants it to stop.
I would guess something in the competitive eating sector.
Okay.
Maybe for her. Chuck and Delavan.
Hey, I want to thank you, listener, for mentioning my garage band. Who's he crapping? Hey, big poker run tomorrow. It starts at 10 a.m. at the Thirsty Parrot. All proceeds, everybody's welcome, goes to the Walworth County Food Bank. These are going to be the list of the bars real quick. Holly's Como Inn, Papa's Blue Spruce, Next Door Pub Lakeside, Badger Bob's, Pat's Brew and Q in downtown Sharon, The Owl, and Zenda Tap.
Did you name all those bars yourself, Chuck?
No, these are actual bars.
Unbelievable.
So it'd be 10 a.m., Thirsty Parrot. That's where it starts. $15 per motorcycle. And then I see it's $10 per golf cart, which is racist. They should be 15 and 15. I don't know what the hell's going on. I will get to the bottom of that tomorrow. And I turned in my 2,750 signatures.
Thanks,
so
Chuck. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you.
Hiring. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 272,000 jobs created last month, way more than expected. Over 100,000 more than in April.
The unemployment rate rose